Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 100 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who has spiky hair with me tonight?
Michael Kilwalla Hughes, but you're still hungry.
And hailing from Medina Village, Red Fox.
So you're telling me you're the little imp sitting in the house waiting for someone to pop out of your kitchen? Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Have some cake.
That's right.
I'll never understand that.
They're very accepting. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Well, I guess since you're here, I'll tell you. Don't go too far in this village.
Oh, man. It didn't hit me till much later. Like, that's kind of like they shouldn't be as friendly as they are when you just popped out of their kitchen cabinet. Mostly people would not be okay with that.
Considering they have a history of, like, racism.
I never really thought about that until way later, how much that is just racism. There's a lot of racism in this game.
There's still racism when they're monsters.
Yeah. Maybe speciesism? Like how people are scared of pit bulls? Does that count?
That's fair.
Close enough.
I also have a part pit bull, so that might have something to do with it. But that makes that comment. All right, but we are here to talk about, since it's our 100th episode, I decided that we should talk about my favorite game ever. I'm about to say best game ever, but that's too subjective. So we'll say my favorite game.
A lot of people agree.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Some people don't, I think. Hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. We're talking about Chrono Trigger, for the Super Nintendo originally, made by Squaresoft, came out in 1995.
It's a long time ago.
It really is. Still holds up.
Oh, yeah.
It does. It's timeless, man. No pun intended.
Yeah. I still like the old ad I had for this in one of my magazines. They're like, it's about time.
Yeah.
There's a 2-page split ad. I'm like,
And then 25 years later, Crash Bandicoot stole that. They're like, hey, we're just going to name our game that.
Yeah. Whenever I see people say it's about time, I'm like, Chrono Trigger? And it'd be Crash. I'm like, fuck you. Crash is no Chrono Trigger. So first thing I do want to say is the cover of this game, the American release, makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we talked about in the Mega Man X one with Launch Octopus being the wrong color. There's a lot of that going on.
Well, one, they're fighting
using fire.
And they're fighting a Hecarim, and they're in the snow. The Hecarim is only in the regular version, in the cave, and you don't fight him in the snow.
If I am correct on this, I do believe there was a screenshot that did reflect that art.
Oh.
Like in pre-development, but I
oh,
don't know. I might have heard that quite some time ago.
yeah, it bothers me. It always has, but
So it might have been accurate at one time, but when the official release came out, then yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, Ice Sword wouldn't look as cool if he was jumping at the Hecarim with a sword covered in ice in a blizzard.
It could have been Luca though. Like, what's she even wearing here? It's like a weird raincoat, a purple raincoat.
A poncho? No, not a poncho. I don't know. It's a winter coat. But you don't wear it. And Frog just in the snow, like where he deserves, on his knees, the ground.
Wow. Wasn't that your favorite character?
Talk about racism.
Yeah, right. He deserves. Wow.
Right out of the gate.
I like Frog though. Actually, he is my favorite. I didn't use him this time though. I played this game differently this time. So I played this game, well over 10 times. Probably every couple years I go back to it because why not?
Oh yeah.
It's the best game ever. So I actually went back and played this. I think 3 years ago on a tablet. I played it on I played the DS version for the first time. Playing that version, and then I went back. So we should all say what version. I played the DS version for this playthrough. What about you, Mike?
Same. DS.
Okay.
Yes, same here. I think I would always stick to the DS version from now on.
Yeah, it's definitely the best version because it has the cutscenes from PlayStation 1 that you don't need, and it has the retranslated text that you do need. And you played this game a lot when you're reading the text, and you're like, well, they changed that from the SNES version. I'm like, oh, well.
I definitely had the SNES version like deep within me because I was still referring to things as they are in that game. And for some reason, like the blockier pixels they're charming to me. So it was weird to see them be a little sharper in the DS version.
I didn't catch that.
It just looks different to me.
Okay, I mean, you could
to
play
have that
Steam version.
The constant mini map too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, like that was very different.
Oh yeah, and everything being. I mean, I liked it because I was playing this on a phone, so it was really nice with a touchscreen. I own the DS.
Jackson all over again.
Yeah. I own the DS version somewhere. I have a funny story with that. Actually, that was the last game my ex-girlfriend bought me with my money before she left. And then I lost it shortly after she left, and then I refound it, but I never actually played that version. But I have the copy. I bought it. I just like emulation so much better.
It's very convenient. I did actually play on my DS cart on my DS.
Same here. Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's all about convenience. I hate carrying around an extra device just to play it.
Same. I have the launch DS too, so it's fat and bulky wherever the hell it is. I don't know where it is.
I always have something extra on me. It's either my 3DS or now I got a PSP Go. They fit so nicely in my pockets.
Yeah, with no PSP Go games on it, huh?
Yeah, well. It's got Castlevania. That counts.
Yeah. So I just, like, even the way that this game starts off is so iconic to me. You wake up in bed, your mom's telling you to get up, opens the curtains, and every time, like, I played this game with headphones for part of the game, and it is just it's so awesome still after all this time. Just to hearing the birds chirping, I'm just like, ah.
Yeah. And they're setting the tone right out the gate as far as how peaceful life is. Nothing to worry about for the most part. The kingdom is peaceful. They got a 1,000-year anniversary like fair going on. I mean, they're really setting the tone, kind of like a horror movie where everything's just great until it all falls apart.
I mean, things do go to shit pretty quickly in this.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take long.
Not as far as 1000 AD is concerned. It stays pretty peaceful through most of the game.
Ask Chrono Cross. Not so peaceful as Chrono Cross. Because Chrono Cross is the same time, right? Like just like 30 years later of 1000 AD.
Yeah, I believe it's around that same point in time for the most part. I mean, Poré is more of a military force at that time. So I'd say a little bit after 1000 AD.
Okay. Oh, and I should say there will be spoilers for Chrono Trigger, maybe a little bit for Cross, but I doubt it. And yeah, so you've been warned.
There was one right there. So
yeah, but this game came out in came out in 1995, and Chrono Cross came out in what, early 2000?
2000, yeah, 2000, 2001.
So if you haven't played it, yeah, it don't matter. Plus, if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, it can make any sense. I won't spoil anything where you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Who knows?
I already don't know what you're talking about with Chrono Cross.
You haven't played Cross?
I played like an hour of it, maybe.
Episode 200, here we come.
Oh, jeez.
200, let me know.
I've been meaning to play Cross again for years, so it'd be the perfect excuse to finally do it.
Yeah, I've been looking for an excuse to play it, so it's already on my PSP.
So 2 years from now, if we do that, here we come.
Oh, I'm ready.
It probably will be 2 years from now. I have no rush to play it. It's just one of those games. All right, so just everything, like, I love the Millennial Fair. I love how you go to this place, and everything that happens is all by accident, just because you run into a girl, or she runs into you, even though you have to pretty much run into her to trigger it.
That's not what the court says.
Oh God, I love the court, but we'll get there shortly.
Yeah,
but
we'll get there.
It's so cool how, like, in little things that you do in that part, where if you don't talk to her first and pick up the pendant, or if you eat the guy's lunch that keeps respawning in the DS version, you'll get mad at you at the court.
Oh yeah, they set you up for failure without letting you know it.
Does the drinking thing affect you too?
I don't think so.
Oh, I like how they changed it from soda pop, like it was in the SNES version, to beer in this one. I think it's supposed to be beer. I know that.
You gotta save the kitty too.
Yeah, but you have to talk to her first, otherwise you can't save the kitty. I tried.
I was watching started watching SNES Drunk's LP of this morning, and he said that when he had his girlfriend play this, she spent an hour in the fair just kind of doing everything there is to do.
I mean, I've done that before.
Yeah, I think we all have at one point in the original SNES version have done that, especially as kids. Like, I know I played around in that fair for quite some time.
You gotta at least fight Gato and hear his sick song.
Right.
It's a good song.
That platinum recording artist, Gato.
You earn 15 platinum points.
Get it?
So, it's still in my head. But it's just like, that's what's so special about the game. There's little parts that you might completely miss if you just didn't go in a room you don't really need to go into.
And it's not going to affect the overall scheme of the game, but it's just nice to experience.
I mean, this game is full of stuff like that. But like in Millennial Fair, you have a race you can bet on that I never bet on. You can hit a little hammer and you can earn 1 silver point each time you hit the bell. Like, there's just lots of little things you can do that are very unique. And just the way that the story goes, like, you go to see your friend who's an inventor invented a teleporter, which should be a lot cooler than it actually is in this game, but I love how that's how this whole story goes, because she's wearing this pendant that's been handed down, or Marl, which we haven't even mentioned her name yet, the girl with the pendant that ran into you.
Yeah, we should talk about that real quick.
Yeah, why don't stop me and let's talk about the characters.
The game came out in 95, like we said, long before spoken text in games. So, like, I think everyone pronounces a lot of the names differently, so there's going to be some of that in this episode.
There will be, for sure.
Chrono is the main character with spiky red hair that you would have seen on the cover, who is a silent protagonist who cannot talk.
Went Super Saiyan God about 20-some years before.
Yeah. So what happens when you have Akira Toriyama designer characters? They all kind of look similar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can, not as bad as like Dragon Quest stuff, where you can go, that's Trunks, that's Goku, but oh yeah, it's close. Like you can tell, you can see the similarities when you look at him. Like, oh yeah. And his best friend is Luca, who's an inventor, who's the one that made the telepod, who fights with a gun, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. I always like guns in RPGs, except they're usually super weak.
Yeah, normally. Luckily, not in this one. So I don't like Luca. I don't use her at all this time.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's good, but we'll get to that.
You're not wrong, but
some are just better than others.
And then you also have Marl, which is the girl with the pendant that moves the whole story forward, because she's the one, which you don't know this right away, she's the princess of the castle of the land that you're living in.
Princess Nadia. I used to call her Marley. I think a lot of people did. It's because that E's there. But I've kind of fallen into the Meryl camp, like Metal Gear Solid.
Meryl. I think I've done the opposite. Like when Mike and I were kids, we would say Marl, and then as I got older, I started to say Marley.
I still say Marl.
And I think it's influenced from Cross, because I think Harley from Cross is the exact same spelling but with an H. So I just did the same with Marl or Marley.
Mm-hmm. I'll buy it.
I'll take it. I'm still going to pronounce it the same way, but I'll take it. I'm sure we'll have another pronunciation for another character coming up here in a little while. And like just how the way that this game, throws you into it. Like you go through this teleporter and you go to one side, but then when Marl goes into it, she goes into a time portal, and you don't know where the fuck you're going. You just grab your sword that you happen to have, and wooden jump sword. Into the.
Your wooden sword.
Oh yeah, it's a wooden sword at first, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It
don't last long for me. Because I level up and buy the other sword right away.
Yeah, so
it's a little old to have a wooden sword. It's like a young kid thing.
You ever gotten hit by a wooden sword?
16, 17 at this age. I mean, that's like an 11-year-old kind of thing.
A wooden katana book. God, I used to know the name of this. That would hurt like hell. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, hit someone hard enough with it.
Okay, fair point. And just the way that, because depending on how you play this game, because even in the first area, you can go run around in a forest near the castle and level up and fight random mushroom enemies. But if you follow the game the way you're supposed to, you go through this portal, your first fight will be with a bunch of little blue imps. And I think that does such a great job of kind of showing you what the game is, where you're all of a sudden you're dropped in this place, you have no idea where you're at, nothing's being explained to you, and you're just like running around the woods. And when you get back and you go to your where your town is, and 11, you go in the houses, they're like, Medina Fair, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I love that. That's so awesome.
Up until that point, you're just constantly learning new things. And I think actually the Millennial Fair is just a bit misleading, because you don't deal with anything like that ever in the game. So when you finally get to Truce Canyon, that's for the first time you get to really see what the game was about.
And it's so good.
You come up to the world map and everything's covered in this eerie fog. It's like, this is clearly not the place you left.
Yeah, I love that. And I wish I could remember how confusing it must have been to young Mike when he first saw this. And I talked to the people, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Look at that hair!" Like, I love how there's so many comments about your hair in the original game, at least.
I think that was pulled off very well. I mean, even on the world map, it normally shows the time period. When you first get there, it's just a question mark. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, which is cool. Unfortunately, I know perfectly where we are, but
I like his hair.
I do too. There's nothing I don't like about this game, but I'll get there. And just
nothing. I'm sure we can find something.
I don't know. We'll see. But I just love everything about this opening. And like when you first go to the castle and the guards start making fun of you, like they changed the text in the DS version where at first they go, "Look at that crazy haircut. You must be part of Magus's army," even though Magus's army are all monsters and there's no humans. But hey,
show us your stamp collection.
You got to be a monster to have hair like that. Can we talk about the guards for a second? Like, how badass are they in 600 AD, and then you get to the 1000 AD? They're just wearing like regular uniforms.
They're dressed like Jetsons characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't look as cool. In the cutscene, though, the guards in AD look really fucking stupid, though.
I like the guy that you find in one of the item shops that's trying on the armor, and he just collapses from the weight of it.
Yeah. There's some idiots. And then that's when you run into Marl again, but they're like, "Oh, queen," and you're like, this is before you find out that she is actually the queen in 1000 AD. That's going to be an interesting episode. And not queen, princess. Yeah, you're right, princess. And like I like that. Like you go up, you follow her up the room, like, "Oh, Princess Nadia," or not Princess Nadia, but they're like, the queen has come back, and we're all fine. And that scene when you go upstairs and she starts to disappear while you're talking to her, and that is just such a like heartening moment where you're with her, and all of a sudden she fades away and doesn't exist anymore. And you're just like, what the fuck? What do I do now?
It's pretty chilling. She feels like her insides are being ripped apart. Oh God, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I kind of can.
Erased from time. Like that's the only time you really see it happen in the game, right in front of your eyes.
It is so, and I remember thinking to myself, they're gonna think I killed her, like, and you run out the door.
Doing anything funny with her, were you?
I like how that's one of the lines, and she's just gone. And as you're running down the stairs, like, okay, I better leave this castle now. You run into Luca, who they just let in the castle, like, oh yeah, I'm with that spiky hair guy. Oh yeah, come on in. He's down the hall. Like,
that's a good point.
I don't know why they just let her into a guarded castle.
So Luca just kind of knew to go there. I mean, yeah, she eventually found out that it was Princess Nadia, but she just knew to go to the castle.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she'd make that connection because she knows she's the princess. So
yeah.
And where else are they going to go on the map?
I don't know.
Cathedral.
Yeah, cathedral.
I feel like as a kid, it took me a long time to figure out to go to that cathedral next.
I think it's someone in the tavern kind of hints at it. Like, a lot of the townsfolk will give you useful information if you just go around and talk to everyone like we did as kids in RPGs. Because, like, I don't know what to do. Let's go talk to people.
Guides were a lot more scarce until GameFAQs really blew up.
Yeah, I owned a guide in this game.
Me too.
Yeah.
I didn't even own the game yet. But
RPG.
Oh, you bought it before?
Yeah. I don't remember. I think a friend had it or something. I'm like, oh, I'll buy the guide.
I don't know if I still have it because I moved a few times and I moved in very quickly times, and it's one of the things I don't know if I still have it anymore or not. I'm gonna have to go find it out. I'm curious now.
I sent you a picture of it not too long back.
Yeah, I'm hoping I still have mine. I know I lost a lot of stuff when I moved.
Do you still have your original SNES copy?
I want to say yes.
I still have mine.
I did have mine. I still have mine. I had mine when I was living in the apartment with Tiff, so I still have it somewhere in a bin.
I actually never owned this until the DS version.
No. I own this on Super Nintendo, DS, and PS1.
Nice.
I did have it. Okay. My mom got it from a thrift store. I had no idea what it was. I just tried it out, played it. No idea until a few years later.
Wow.
Was it me who introduced you to it?
I already had it, but then I realized you had it, and you got me more into RPGs at that time.
Okay.
So I didn't appreciate it until then.
That's cool.
I don't even know why the hell I had it or played it or anything. I don't remember what got me into it.
Well, you were big into RPGs at the time. I mean, you had all the Final Fantasies and
all three of them.
Logical next step.
At the time, it was Mystic Quest 2 and 3.
Oh, God.
Maybe you were just a big Dragon Ball fan.
Yeah, maybe.
I wasn't though.
No, he wasn't.
The only time I really got into Dragon Ball when I met Brad in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then then it wasn't until years later when I watched all original Dragon Ball and tried to go through Z and got to the Cell Saga, and that was the end of that.
Hey, Z wasn't bad.
No, I met Tiff, and I wasn't sitting there watching anime for 4 hours a day anymore. I mean, that's essentially what it was. I was just bored and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna I'm gonna finish Dragon Ball Z. I got nothing else to do, and I got no money because I have a shitty job right now. All right, enough of that crap. So, like, the Cathedral, we're not gonna go beat for beat this whole game because I don't want to talk for 5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I just want some of the original stuff is good to do. The Cathedral, I think, is very interesting too at parts. Like this is where you first meet Frog, who, as you mentioned, Frog is a frog that was a human that got turned into a frog.
You lost me.
Yeah, I know.
This also introduces you more to the evil monster characters that are in that Mystic War. This is the first time you really run into them. Because
you go into the cathedral and there's a bunch of nuns who are saying very menacing things to you, and then you find the Queen's hairpin, and they all turn into the Nagaets, the weird snake people.
They all scream first, or something like that.
There's a lot of good sound effects in this game. Of course, the best one's the cat meowing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That happens a few times. But it's just so... And this is when you first get really into combat, too, because you have to go through this cathedral and you fight tons of mystics. You find hostages, you find prisoners that they have. These two random guards just locked in a room, just unlocked. They're like, oh, I guess we could leave now. Yeah, get out of here. It's very interesting. I mean, I don't care for when the Chancellor you find out is you fight a fake Chancellor type guy.
Yakra.
I don't really care for Yakra.
As a kid, I always looked at his sprite and thought his horns were the eyes. So he had like this weird, doofy face, and as far as I could tell.
I'm going to have to look this up now.
In that same note, you guys remember what Fiona looks like? Fiona with the forest and 600 AD.
She's got like wrap over her head?
She's got I think she's got her ponytail, and she's got this like kind of like cloak kind of deal. But I always thought it was so weird because where the collar is, it always looked like their jaw was like down and open. So it looked like they had these elongated, like scary faces to me.
You know, I always thought the horns were eyes too. I just now realized they're horns.
Awesome.
So yeah, thank you.
Fiona, I always thought that she had like a mustache. Like she kind of looked like Mario.
Yeah, I could see that.
Making me look up sprites now all of a sudden. I don't know how I feel about this.
Spriter's resource, man.
Yeah, it's a good place.
I love that site.
I used to use it a lot when I was doing a bunch of different artwork that I would make.
Yeah, the chin where the cloak starts, it looks like a mustache to me. So she looks like her chin is a big nose, and it looks very Mario-like.
After I just thought Yakra this entire time had eyes that were horns, I got nothing anymore. I'm done.
This is what everyone's here for. It's what we see in the sprites.
Again, I always thought Emperor Gestalt in Final Fantasy VI was a dog for the longest time.
Wow.
I thought he was a dog man.
Yeah, I can see that.
You never told me that.
I know, I never. Because I always thought you saw the same thing. Like, hey, it's a dog man. I'm like,
no, I never.
Okay, it wasn't until years later I'm like, oh, that's just a beard.
Oh, man, your whole life was a lie until then.
Yes, it was.
Oh yeah, I can see that. His long hair looks like ears.
The last thing we should say about Cathedral, there's not that much to say about this fucking place, is that after you beat the boss, you beat Yakra, which you find out the fake chancellor, you rescue the real queen, and then when you bring her back to the castle after Frog ends up leaving, that's when then Marl comes back and reappears. I think that's cool because you change time, because you time the way it's supposed to be now.
Unless you forget to go up there to check where she is, you go all the way back to Truce Cannon and wonder why it won't let you go back through the gate.
I've never done that.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, that was just oddly specific.
Okay, it makes sense that you go back to get her. He's like, yeah, we don't need her. She's useless.
Yeah,
also,
let's move on.
By the point you're in the Cathedral, you've been getting enough tech points, which you get alongside experience points, and they unlock the character's different abilities. By now, you have Cyclone on Chrono, which lets him hit a group of enemies, and Lucas got her flamethrower. And as soon as you get them both in the party, you find out you can combine those techs to make a dual tech, which is the best thing in this game. I love dual techs. Really?
No, I don't do dual techs in this playthrough.
What is wrong with you?
What were you doing then?
I just use Luminaire.
The way the game's meant to be played.
Sure, buddy.
I don't know why. I actually did not really use dual techs at all.
That was the thing. That was one of the biggest selling points I think in the game. Like there was not many other games that were doing that.
There still aren't.
Yeah, really still aren't.
No, I agree. I don't know why. I do not know why when I played this game recently, I did not do any dual techs almost at all.
I'm glad I brought it up then. I don't trust that you would have made it there.
I might have not. I don't know. I just had no interest in them at all during this playthrough.
You didn't use X/ on Yakra?
No.
Chrono and Frog
both? Because I know you liked X/ at that, so it's very surprising.
I don't know why. It was a weird playthrough. That's all I got.
We'll get to the Lord and Savior cube toss later on.
Your weird adult brain just ruined it for you.
Did something.
Anyway.
I played this game very different. I think I wanted to play it very differently too. I didn't want to play it the way I played it before.
Character-wise, I don't know about dual tech-wise though. That's a little odd.
I think it was more just. I don't know what it was. I just didn't use them.
Don't tell me you started using items in combat.
I ain't gonna go that far. Are you crazy? Who the hell uses items in combat? I actually did. I don't like using items. I save them.
We know.
What am I saving them for? I don't fucking know, but I save them.
Not the last boss, so yeah, I don't know.
I think I actually used a Mega Elixir sometime on the last boss. I'm sure somewhere Mike was screaming and he didn't know why.
No, I used Mega Elixir on Dream Devourer.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Because fuck that fight.
Well, if you're going to use it, that would be the time.
That was also the end of it, so. I knew that was the end of it. I'm like, well, the game's about to be over with, so yeah.
Anyway.
How did we get here?
I brought up dual tech.
So, okay, well, it's good. It needed to be brought up. So when you get back to present day, this is when you end up, you bring her back to the castle like you're supposed to.
How do they get back?
Oh, they go to Truce Canyon. After they rescue Marl, the portal opens up because she made a time key or something.
The gate key.
Gate key, yeah.
I've got it on my keychain. So if I ever find a portal, I'm good to open it.
Okay. Good luck with that one. You might end up in a future you don't want to see.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
maybe you enter into alternate dimension.
I think we're in that future that people don't want to see.
We're
No, we
already there,
avoided it.
man.
We're not in the future
Well,
I didn't want to see. We
Part of
avoided
it, buddy. You're missing the COVID part of it.
You know what? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty terrible, but could have been worse.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying not to say what I want to say.
Yeah, I already know where that's going.
Yes, you know me well enough at this point. So do some people listen to the show. So just like everything, like when you get back, I think is so interesting how things go to completely to shit. Kind of bring her back and they're like, arrest him, and he's like, what?
Kidnapped the princess. As far as they know, she disappeared, and he was the last person seen with her. So clearly, he kidnapped her.
I mean, that's what I would think too, though. But it's such a the trial is such a famous part though, and so memorable, and like that music is still so great.
It's also the coolest set piece, and the whole sprited background is amazing.
It is. And that's the thing about this game in general. I feel like they innovated so many things that we've never seen before. And you saw it for the first time there. I mean, what other court scenes can you think of in RPGs from that point on as far as like traditional JRPGs? Like not too many.
No, I love the trial. Everything about the trial is just so great, and the music is just so good.
And this is the point where obviously your past actions come to bite you in your ass, unknowingly so.
Yeah. It's really interesting though too, like what happens and like how those little things that you might have done earlier not done play a part in what's coming.
If you played the game like a JRPG protagonist and just interacted with everything, you probably screwed yourself.
Yeah, most likely.
Well, screw yourself in quotations, because unfortunately, no matter what verdict you get, it doesn't actually change anything but some dialogue.
Yeah, you're still going to jail. They're still throwing you. Well, he's not guilty, but he still ran off with her. So.
I
never did get that one. I'm like, but really?
So they say throw him in jail for 3 days.
Yeah, how does that go?
He will be executed.
I do love that too. They're like, wait a second, what?
I don't think this chancellor's all he's cracked up to be.
Okay. I don't know why they were gonna like, and it didn't compute with me for the longest time when I first played this game that the chancellor that is locking you up is not the chancellor you think. It's the descendant to the guy that you killed.
Yep.
I thought that was cool too.
Spoilers for later on.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, some people probably never even seen that because you don't have to do it.
True.
And it's really the only person in the modern or present era that is still holding on to those like old Mystic War grudges.
Yeah, spoilers for a side quest later on. This is actually Yakra the 13th, who has been harboring that grudge against Chrono and his friends for 400 years.
Yeah, seems a little excessive.
Yeah, well, monster's gonna monster.
Yeah, but I mean, in the whole thing with like the trial where then they're gonna execute you and you have to escape, like that. But you
don't.
I do.
You don't have to escape.
I know, you can just sit there and wait the 3 days like a lazy person, and then they'll put you in the guillotine and Luca comes and saves you. But it's more fun to shake the gate 3 times so the guy comes and hits you.
And you bonk him.
With your sword. Why?
You got a metal sword by now.
Like, why would you lock the guy up? But you can keep your sword. It's okay. We're going to lock him in the cell, but you can keep your sword. It's all right.
Made 0 sense when that happened.
I mean, I know it's, a game, but still, like, you think at least he would have grabbed something. Nope, he just hits him with his sword.
Would you
disarm
rather
the guard and knock him out or something?
Yeah, that'd be good. Would you rather them lock you in a jail cell and take away all your weapons and items and money? Got good news for you.
I hate that. That's the word. Okay. I don't like that.
There it is. I knew there was going to be something.
Yeah, that's the one part of the game I could do without. But when I used Ayla as much as she was, it wasn't a problem because she was super powerful.
Best character. We'll get there.
So, she's the best. Can't believe I just said that.
I like waiting the 3 days because then you get Luca to help you fight through the towers too, instead of just having Chrono.
Easy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So I don't.
Until you get to the first boss or the first real boss. I guess.
Dragon Tank. When I first played this game as a kid, I had to restart the game because I could not beat the Dragon Tank.
Pretty tough.
Yeah, he's not easy.
This is the first boss that has multiple parts that you can attack and target.
Yeah, it's their first like real challenge up to that point.
Yeah, he's not fun.
The head repairs damage on the body.
And the wheel runs you over.
Yeah, that thing's brutal. You gotta take out the head first because it keeps healing the rest of the Dragon Tank. Which, last week we had Dinosaur Tank, this week we have Dragon Tank. That's awesome.
But last week we had a game that we didn't enjoy. This week we had an amazing game.
That's fair.
So, there's no Dragon Tank in next week's game, though, or any kind of tank.
Or dragon, oddly enough.
Oh. All right. And it's just, and this is like such a big thing because after you escape the prison, you're like, we got to get, and you're getting chased out of the castle, which is, again, cool as hell. And that whole part where you end up, like, this is what leads to the game is that they run into the woods, get trapped, and then they're finding a portal. It goes, they don't know where the fuck where, but they jump into it just to escape going to prison again.
Yeah. Meryl's like, it can't be any worse than where we are.
I can't remember as a kid if it hit me as hard as it did as an adult, but when you go to the future, is that they end up and everything is desolate, everything is destroyed, like the world just looks like complete utter hell.
Mm-hmm. And like I think like Rich pointed out earlier, it's just a question mark because you don't know when you are yet.
Oh yeah,
but
it's interesting. Like the first thing you come into, there's no inns or anywhere to heal, but you see this machine. If you talk to the really sad looking skeletal NPCs that look terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, well, you can go on the Enetron and it'll heal you. It's like, you're fully refreshed. And they're like, but you're still hungry.
That's depressing.
It didn't click until this playthrough where they have absolutely no food. They're just using this machine that helps them feel like they're okay, but they're actually just dying completely because they can't eat.
Like it heals their body, but then their body deteriorates from lack of food anyway.
Yeah, it didn't hit me until this playthrough. I'm like, oh, that is terrible.
Yeah, it's a little dark.
The future is so bad. Was it 2000 AD you're in or 2020?
23.
23.
2380. So 1300 years ahead of their present time.
Okay, so it's like 300 years after the Day of Lavels, you find out a little bit later.
Uh-huh.
Which is what the whole like point of the story is that you end up going into as you progress through in the future, you end up going downstairs in this rickety place and you find a computer panel that Marl hits by accident that...
the tried and true, what does this button do?
Yeah, and that's why then she ends up you find out about Lavels came in 1999 and just destroys the world.
The Day of Lavels.
Which, it looks cool. Like, I really wish you could have experienced the world, what it would have looked like in 1998 or something, like that future.
Uh-huh. It looks like a Sim City kind of thing.
It does.
Yeah. I wish it was in this game. It bugs me that it's not.
Well, according to Chrysalis, the world ended in 1998, so it wouldn't have been that great.
Still, I wish you could see that type of world, not just the one you get.
Like an actual future, not just the desolate future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be down for that.
The bustling version of the future.
Yeah, which we will play. Someday I do want to play the unofficial sequel to this game, Crimson Echoes. Whatever it's called.
Actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I never got a chance to go through that.
Me either, because it's hard. So someday I want to play that, which is a fan-made game, not a real sequel. But it's the closest thing we're ever going to get to a Chrono Trigger sequel. So
true.
A real Chrono Trigger sequel.
The saddest sentence I've ever heard you say.
Yeah. We're never going to get it. Well, the people
they put so much thought and care into the Steam part of Chrono Trigger. Clearly, they give a crap about the series.
Well, the problem is that the developers of Chrono Trigger, they all left the series later on, and Square Enix is a company where if the people who are involved leave, they don't continue the series always, except for like Final Fantasy. Like the guy that
we'll never get another Parasite Eve.
Probably not. I think Tetsuya Nomura is still there, isn't he? Wasn't he the one involved in Parasite Eve?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't care enough either.
Yeah, if you get another team on this game, I mean, like a proper sequel, I don't think it's going to work out.
No, and I was wrong. The Parasite Eve director was Takashi Tokita.
Okay.
I have no idea who that is.
We'll figure it out in June.
Oh, he was the director of Parasite Eve and Chrono Trigger, so yeah, okay.
There you go.
He has something to do with my favorite game.
And he made one good game outside of this.
And and after they finish finding out about Lavels and you do some stuff, you get introduced to Robo, the fourth character you get in this game.
You don't want to talk about Johnny? the stupidest part of the game?
It's okay.
The man.
I had such a hard time with that race when I was a kid, and I'm like, this is super, super simple.
I hate that they changed him to Bro in the DS version. All the robots call him the man in Super Nintendo, and that's just Bro.
That's because you were hurt by reading that Hawkeye comic.
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring that up.
One of the lost episodes of the show.
But then you get to play F-Zero for like 30 seconds.
I don't mind it, and the music's good. I like the music.
Oh.
It's so weird me uttering that sentence, isn't it?
You like music?
Yeah.
I'm sure someone listening to the podcast just turned it off. Like, I don't know. I never like this part where you're trying to finish a race before him, but it's just the cars going back and forth, trying to block each other.
I didn't know that as a kid.
It's weird.
I didn't know it was that it was so simple. Because I was like, oh, I'm trying to stay ahead of him, And you literally just have to you just wait until you see the counter get about 30 something, and then you just get in front of him, hit the boost, and you're done.
Yep.
But the music of the bite rates is so good, though.
It's the only time you hear it.
I don't know. Because again, this is a game that comes from my past, so I love the music. Where in later games, I just put headphones in and don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to play this game and listen to all the music.
I didn't. Most of it. I played a lot of this in random places where I didn't want people to hear what I was playing. So
it's quite good.
I played with no music.
That is an understatement.
Plus, I played in fast forward at certain times. So
speaking of music, I know you want to talk about Robo's theme because I kind of stepped on you when you mentioned him.
So, no, you're fine. So in Robo, you just didn't want me to talk about where I'm going to go with this. So Robo is this big robot that comes in the game. It's like because you kind of get a character from each time zone. You have 3 from 1000 AD. You get 1 from the future and 1 from 600 AD when you get Frog back. So, but Robo, the thing about Cool Robot is he's this big robot that joins you, and you get to hear Robo's theme, which is what I really want to bring up. And
you couldn't hold it in, could you?
Of course I'm never home. I've been making this joke for a long time off radio. So if you're listening to this, go listen to Robo's theme, and then you go listen to Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up, and you'll be like, wait a second, they copied part of Rick Astley's song and put it in Robo's theme, and once you hear it, you'll never unhear it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
that's
because
right now,
I'm listening to it as we talk, but it just ever since then it made me really like Never Gonna Give You Up, and I really like that song.
Mm-hmm. It's like it became such a big meme. I was like, that's fine. It's good. You Rick roll me all you want. I love that song.
Hey, Rich, was that on one of your dumb songs lists back in the day on your old computer?
I don't know. It might have been. It very well could have been.
Because you had I remember you had a whole list of this dumb music.
I would call up a friend and just play it and hang up on him. And that was before Rick rolling too. So. And
before caller ID.
Well, yeah, that too.
You'd be like Hulk Hogan did saying stuff, and then you just I remember all those days. So I mean, and there absolutely is. If you look up on YouTube, there is a thing that has someone put the two of them together. It's perfect.
Sadly enough, I did look that up before.
It's just, I don't know why, it's just so cool to me. It's called Robo Ashley, if anyone wants to look it up. And he merged the two songs together where first you start off hearing Robo theme and all of a sudden it comes in with Never Gonna Give You Up, and it sounds like it goes together perfectly because they use the same...
Yeah, clear inspiration.
And the director or whoever made the music, I never heard of that song before. Sure you didn't. And this is not the first time they've done this. I mean, they did in Earthbound too. Earthbound has 16-bit music of different songs in there. Like there's a Beatles song, I think Michael Jackson's inspired. Like that's just what they were doing at that time.
Yeah, I mean even
Doom did it too.
Yeah, and the original Banger Man Elect Man's theme is a Journey song.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it is. The one that goes. Oh. Okay. There you go. I sung on mic.
Just like an angel.
Told myself I was never going to do it. If you count that singing.
I wouldn't count that as singing.
Anyway.
I'm really curious now. I got to go look this up to see what song it's supposed to be, because that was not... Oh, Faithfully. Yeah. That was not Faithfully at all. It's a good song. Perfect. Okay. I'd have to look into this more than after we're done with this. So, and after you get Robo and all the stuff some stuff does happen that we don't need to go into details, but when you go after you go into this time portal with all four of you end up, and I think Rich's probably favorite spot in this entire game, you end up in the end of time because 4 people traveled in a portal.
Yes. Definitely.
And
so not just the music, but the aesthetic of it.
Like this idea that the end of the world is just a signpost with a guy sitting there.
Yeah.
Guest bar.
That's your central hub of the game, man, right there.
Mm-hmm. It's no Peach's Castle, that's for sure.
I don't get that reference.
It's Mario 64?
Oh, okay. Boo, boo. I really want to play that game on the show.
I know you do.
I do, actually. I didn't know you want to.
I didn't say that. I said I know you do.
I do actually want to play it. I've never beat it, so I want to remedy that, and that's the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, I never have either.
So I know who to talk to when I put it on the show next season.
I have the original 64 copy, and then I got the DS version.
It'd be the DS version I want to play.
Well, it's more convenient for me anyway.
Same. Because I'll have save states either way, but since 64 don't run well on emulator.
really doesn't.
So the end of time is just so interesting because like they don't know what the hell's going on. All of a sudden they're just at this little place with little portals, which is your hub, and you're just there. And I think it's such a like, and the music is very calm and it's kind of sad, and you're just like, what? And this is also where you first get magic for the first time, where you go in a room and talk to a little goblin-looking thingy, and he gives you magic. You walk around 3 times for some reason. But it's
not
so
the coolest way to introduce magic, by the way, but the area is very cool nonetheless.
It's so good, and this music is so timeless, too.
Specchio's theme?
Fuck Specchio.
Oh, you're talking about the end of
Fuck
time.
Specchio. He's a little asshole. I don't like him. He's the guy who
like
gets
his
mad.
theme.
Hey, his theme wasn't bad, though.
Yeah, I just don't like him. I also can't beat him either.
Yeah, me neither.
He's always kicked my ass.
He's a master of war, man.
He's pretty cool that he changes forms depending on how strong your characters are.
Mm-hmm.
He starts out as a little frog, and then he's a Kilwala.
I've never seen him as a frog, though. I always see him as a koala when I first come to meet him.
I always see him as a frog only in speedruns, where you like have to avoid a lot of stuff to get there.
Okay, I can't do that.
I do not think I've ever seen him as a frog.
I level too much.
Yeah, I do that in almost every RPG.
Oh yeah, fight whatever you can.
Oh yeah, in this game, I mean, this playthrough was no different. I leveled up every chance I got. But you don't really need to.
In this one, you don't need to, no.
No, I only really needed to in the cathedral for the dragon tank, and then after that, I just fought everything I could come across. But I didn't actually really go out of my way to fight stuff. I did just fine.
Yeah, it does a good job with pacing. Like, you don't ever feel like you're too weak, even though you're not grinding. And that's one thing I loved about it. You don't have to grind in this game, whereas every other RPG or JRPG was a grind fest at the time.
Yeah, and it's so nice that it isn't a grind fest. Like, this is a game that... And it didn't really hit me until this most recent playthrough where you don't have to. You can really just run around and enjoy the game, have fun, and grinding just not a thing. And that is so...
That leaves you to only enjoy the important parts, the music, the gameplay itself, the setting, the story, without the annoying grind fest.
The story is so good, and I love how after you go because you're trying to get back to your house, but when you're at the end of the time, it's like, oh, I got a portal that goes back to 600 AD or not, 1000 AD, so you jump to the portal, and this is where we're making the joke early in the episode where you pop into a guy's house.
Yep. Medina Village.
And this is where you find out more about the mystics, and I had forgotten this, but this is also where you find out that Magus created Lavos.
Is this the other character name you were speaking of?
You don't say Magus?
That we're going to pronounce different? Yeah, I always said Magus too.
Yeah, I say Magus.
Does anyone actually say Magus?
Some people say Magus.
I've heard Magus.
No, I was talking about Ayla.
Oh, I gotcha.
I was thinking maybe people say Ayla different. Or Isla.
I think they do.
It's Ayla.
I thought you were talking about Magus this whole time.
So did I.
Well, hey, that's a great thing. It can work in either way. But Magus is... When I was a kid, I know me and Rich both can say this, he was our favorite character. At least he was your favorite character.
For sure. Yeah, he's still one of the most badass JRPG characters ever.
I don't use him a single time in this playthrough. I beat this game twice. Fuck him. He's useless.
To be honest with you, the last playthrough, I didn't really use him either.
Okay, I did use him just to get his text, but that was more of just because I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that useful.
Well, in the end game, post-game, I should say, I ended up using pretty much everybody. Just to even it out, but otherwise, no, I didn't use him in my main party.
He's not that good.
Nah, he's cool looking. Like I'm pretty sure he was my favorite character when I was younger too. But everyone likes that edgy dark boy.
Yeah. That utility-wise, though, he doesn't match up.
I do like it. That's how the whole story goes. Because I forgotten just because you talk to people in this town, and because when you fight the Hecarim boss on your way to get to this water portal to get back, the Hecarim says, if Magus would have something about created Lavos like he was supposed to, something about Lavos and Magus, there would be no humans. And that's when you decide, okay, now we got to go kill Magus because he created Lavos in 600 AD.
Because it's just a series of events up until you get to 2300 and figure out that Lavos destroyed the world in 1999, and that becomes your sole purpose. Like, since you can travel through time, surely there's a way you can stop him. So the rest of the game is just working towards that goal. Which is interesting, but at the same time, like, I had forgotten it was all just one line by a guy dying after you kill him.
That's all they had to go on.
But it's still cool. It's interesting how like such little things are what push the story along. At least it's cool to me. It
is. I mean, you got to get from point A to point B, so they had to throw a little hint out there, whether or not it was misinformation, and just get to the next point.
But I mean, I think in the part when you go back to 600 AD is so like it is one of my favorite parts of this game. Like you go back to the castle and they're fighting the Mystic War and the bridge that was destroyed earlier when you came here to stop you from going to the other side of the map. You have to go run across it, and it's. I mean, one, I gotta say, these soldiers suck, and they're getting their ass handed to them, but it is cool.
I wouldn't want to fight skeleton zombies or whatever the hell.
The undead, man. Like, the undead they don't have to eat, whereas the knights do. They got to maintain themselves, and that's like a subplot anyway.
I love how you got to go get the food, and then you come back with the food, and there's nobody there anymore. Like, well, I guess they don't need the food that much.
They don't need their one jerky that you got.
One jerky, and they split it amongst like
100 guys. All right, you everyone get their bite? All right.
The chef saved us all with one jerky.
It's like, by the time you get back, there's not going to be like 2 guys left, so...
It's all right.
It's where you meet Ozzy.
Yeah, I like Ozzy.
First time.
He's such a goof.
Yeah,
I like the whole trio. I thought the whole trio was cool.
Okay, Flea and Slash. Yeah, they are. Yeah. You don't fight them here. You just see Ozzy's fat ass, but yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I think them as a whole, other than individually, are pretty cool.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about Zombor or any of that crap that I don't really want to go into, but like is
Zombor kind of teaches you, because like you said, at this point you have magic and you learn to use it a little bit versus Hecarim, but now you have 2 parts to Zombor. One part can only be damaged by magic and the other one can only be damaged by physical, so it's kind of teaching you that certain enemies are going to be able to be hit by certain things, or more susceptible to them at least. That's all I want to say.
Okay, I'll go with it. I mean, it is a point. I mean, that's what the game is teaching you.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
So you're not wrong. And then as you progress through, this is when you end up running into Frog again. You find out that he lost the Heroes Medal, which is interesting. And this is when it really goes into his backstory about how he met Magus and fought Magus with his buddy Cyrus. Cyrus got killed, and he was turned into a frog. And I love Frog's backstory. Frog was, for the longest time, my favorite character in this game. Partly, I think I related to a guy who was kind of beat up on and looked different than others and was very shy about himself and felt bad about himself.
Wow. I never thought about that.
Well, I have the scar on my lip. Like, before you met me, everyone in school made fun of me because of my scar on my lip, and I had a speech problem in elementary school, so that had stuck with me, so I think I related to characters like that without completely realizing why I was. Oh, man.
That actually makes a ton of sense. So
when you were around me that time, you met me. Well, because when we first met, I was trying to I remember changing the way I was at times too to fit more other people. Mm-hmm. So we met in 6th grade.
I think that's way better of a reason why you like him, not just because he's some noble knight, but to have that connection. I think is even
that's really what it was. Without maybe me not realizing it, like characters that I really reflect with, like Locke from Final Fantasy VI, another character I really reflect with. Mm-hmm. Which I don't have any good reason at the moment, but there's reason.
There is no. I can't draw any connections with that one at all.
I think I consider myself a treasure hunter in the idea of I remember back in the day I used to find a lot of garbage and find things that were we could use this.
It's flat out garbage, yeah.
I mean, it was you're a kid. You're running around places. I mean, so
surely I can use this used McDonald's cheese wrapper.
Well, what we used to do, we used to build forts and bushes, and we'd find random stuff and put it in there. That's a whole other thing. So
adventurer, man.
Hey, it was my adventuring, but everything 600 AD is just so cool with the Mystic War.
I will say that whole era is one of my favorite in the entire game.
Definitely.
And there's so many other things that are going on. There's so many other things that you could explore further, like Cyrus's background and all that kind of stuff. So
they do go into that.
And I want to know more. I wish there was a spin-off game with that in it.
There almost was. I know 2 guys were working on one in their house, but they never finished it.
Yeah, well, I don't know what they were.
Me and Rich tried to make a RPG Maker game about Cyrus's backstory.
Nice.
Yeah.
It never happened. We tried. We spent a lot of nights working on it, but it never happened.
Yeah, it's way too much dedication. That would have been a full-time job for sure.
Hey, not like someone can make a game in their last year of high school and then their first year of college in a year and a half and then put it out for free on Steam. Not like that's going to happen by somebody.
Talk about Summerland.
Yeah. He made it a year and a half, and I was thinking to myself, man, you made this entire game, and me and Rich could not get the Cyrus story off the ground in RPG Maker. That can be props, sir.
You're a little younger.
Yeah, and a little dumber, I think, at that time. we didn't know what we were doing. But I mean, everything with 600 AD is just so cool. And when you go get the Heroes Medal and you you find the broken Masamune, and then you find out that Frog has the other piece of the broken Masamune with him.
That boss, Masamune, is the first wake-up boss. Like, that's the first one that really gave me trouble. And I think it's the first time you get, like, the hard boss theme, where it's got a different boss theme than what you've heard up to this point.
Okay. I didn't put that together. I just never realized.
You fight them separately, and then they fuse together to make this giant-ass thing with tiny legs.
Yeah.
He's kind of a bitch.
Yeah. I had a problem with him before in the past, but not this time.
Is it because you don't use dual text?
I was leveled pretty good. Yeah, no, I didn't use dual text at all.
Fun.
I don't know why. Looking back, I just don't. I did a couple times, but just not. To me, it didn't seem like I'm like I can do enough damage just fine with regular text. I also do a lot of regular attacks in this game, and not as many texts as I should use.
Because at this point, you have the three heroes from 1000 AD. So you have ice magic and fire magic, and Chrono's got his sword, so you can do fire swords and ice swords and antipode and lightning, and so cool. There's so much stuff you can do. And
I love when they get the Masamune and they put it together and they're like, this spells Melchior, which is the guy that you met in 1000 AD, who's also at the Millennial Fair trying to. Okay, I got a question. He's at the Millennial Fair trying to sell you or trying to buy your pendant that he recognizes for some reason, and yet when you go to that, he lives on the island with the monster village. Somehow he's able to get to Millennial Fair and get back, but you have to go through a cave full of monsters and jump in a water portal to get back. Seems wrong there.
Maybe he took that portal.
You really think an old guy with a cane like, oh, I better go get in my portal. Whee!
He is the one that tells them that it's there.
Can you imagine? Like, hey, we're going to the fair. Are you guys ready? All right, I got my swimsuit on. Jump in the portal.
Sploosh.
Okay, enough. And then after you find him, he's like, oh, you need to use Dreamstone, but that hasn't been around in millions of years. And this is what sends you then to the prehistoric era, which I like. I used to not like it at all, but this time it really was good.
Good, 65 million BC. Immediately gets surrounded by reptile people.
Yeah, and I have never looked at the reptile people correctly, I don't think, because when I was looking at them this time around, like when you see the cutscene, they don't look nothing like how my head pictures them.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned the cutscenes yet.
And they added them in the PS1 version. They look cool, but they're not. They're just there.
Luckily, there's an option to turn them off.
You don't need them.
Nah. Because it shows you the cutscene of what's about to happen that you're going to see anyway. It's just flashier.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
But you don't need it.
Well, luckily, you get a little helping hand here fighting the Reptites. You get the best character in the game to save you.
I never thought that until this playthrough.
Ayla is so awesome. She's so overpowered.
Yeah, you were 100% right, though. Like, she is just so good. Like, she has no magic, but she just does, like, physical attacks. But, God, can she mess things up in this game.
She doesn't have a weapon. She uses her fists.
Yeah, and I like it when you first meet her, too. Like, at least in the DS version, when they change the text, there's a sign where she's like, man, woman, doesn't matter. Strong matters. People were talking about that.
She respects strength.
Ahead of her time, man.
And I thought that was...
The first feminist.
What? God, is she badass? She carries a club in all the promotional pictures and stuff, but she doesn't use a club.
I think she even has it in that cutscene we spoke about.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she doesn't need it. She's jump kicking people and throwing them through the air and shit.
This music's really good too, by the way. The primitive mountain music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good. Almost everything is in the game.
Yeah, it's just all the music's good.
Yeah, the music in this, almost all the music in this game is good, but nothing beats Ruble's theme because he's never going to give us up. He's never going to let us go. Or let us down. That's what Let Us Go makes a whole different song. So, and everything about the prehistoric is fun. Like, you go there, you have the festival where you're drinking the soup and you're getting drunk, which again in the old game, oh, I feel so full, and now it's like, oh God, I feel drunk.
You're chugging soup of all things.
Yeah, sure.
The head smash.
So I did have a random question though that I always wonder with me is like when you go there, like when you wake up after you drink too much soup and pass out. You find all these reptite trails, and then you lost your key. Did Kino steal the key from you and then get stolen by the reptites?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my understanding, because when you confront him, he says he stole it, and then she's like, "We'll give it back." He's like, "Well, the reptites have it now."
Yeah. Okay. I was curious about that one because there's all those footprints. So what the hell? You must have been really fucking drunk.
Kino's a little bitch too.
But he's your ancestor. He's Marl's ancestor.
Yeah, I know.
I guess. Well, yeah, he's an asshole. I don't like him.
I guess that makes Ayla her ancestor too, because that kind of...
That's what they say.
Yeah, I say that she and Kino are a thing, which he's bad and outside of his league.
But even then, like 65 million years, like, come on, now it ain't gonna be the same bloodline. People are gonna die and replace them, different families. Like, no way. But then again, I'm getting too critical of a game from 1995. So, but I don't know. It's just like, and it's simple. It's the first Kingdom Prehistoric because you're just going to a cave and you meet Asla, which is the reptite leader who doesn't believe you, and you tell him it's a gate key to travel through time. He's like, why are you lying to me? But Asla's really cool to me. I mean, nothing with Asla has a big effect in this. I mean, it does have some effects in this game, but he's a character because I know
she actually.
It's a she.
Yeah, I think they say it when you come back to 65 million. They refer to her as female.
I never noticed that.
I haven't either.
Maybe it was just in the DS.
Well, the DS did fix things.
Yeah, almost positive.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of weird translation errors in Super Nintendo games because people didn't care. Plus you had one guy sometimes do an entire game translating it on a deadline.
Yeah, I learned today that like the same guy translated all the Pokemon games by himself up to a certain point.
Yeah, like that's ungodly. Like that's too much.
Insane.
Because that's just how it was back then. So I'm glad games are not like that anymore. Yeah. So, everything with the prehistoric is fun. Like you get the Dreamstone after you go get your key back because you drank the soup more than her because you can hold your alcohol better. And like when you repair the key though with repair the sword with Melchior, I love that little scene. Like she's like, I'll put on some coffee, and you just see him doing little weird things with the sprite as they're fixing the sword. It amuses me every time.
Just doing her casting animation.
Yeah. I like it though. And she puts the coffee down, picks the coffee up, and I'm like, oh, okay. I like how he doesn't even question where you got it from. He's like, how would you get something that's been gone for millions of years? Yeah, who cares? Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, he doesn't dig much into it.
He probably knows because he
He might have a little experience.
Yeah, he went through time too. You don't find that out till later, but Melchior is from 12,000 BC?
Yeah.
Which I'm so glad. It used to be called the Dark Ages, but in the DS version, they changed it to something, the Antiquity era.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds a lot better than the Dark Ages.
Agreed.
So, and then you get the sword, you go back to Frog, and this scene with Frog when you first drop down the sword, and he's just like, what? How do you have this? Oh, that part is so good.
Right, and he has no idea what goes into recreating that thing, what it actually took.
But I love that. And I also love Frog's theme a lot. Because again, like I said before, I really related to this character, and to just like this music means so much to me. This is for the longest time with my ringtone on my phone and my alarm clock. So I'd wake up to hear Frog's theme.
It's pretty pulse pounding. It's like shit's about to go down because he picks up the sword and the theme kicks in. It's like, oh yeah, we're ready to fight now.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be rather inspiring at that.
It really is though. And everything again, like I said, I related to him, so it was so cool to see him be like, I can do this. I can beat them. I am. And again, he's a frog. Like he's not in the best shape of he's a shorter character. He's smaller. He's kind of fatter and he's not human anymore. Yeah,
and his self-confidence has taken a huge hit based on what happened to Cyrus and everything else, and his inability to protect the queen.
And God, when you get into the Masamune, and then you're like, okay, we're going to fight Magus, and you have to go to this cave where you have a cutscene too, or you don't need, but where he just jumps and slashes at the cave and just rips it open to unlock to get to Magus's castle.
You get a blue beam to space long before the MCU made it commonplace.
It's so cool. It's got to be one of those like top scenes in games in Super Nintendo era of RPGs or something, though.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, I wouldn't really contest that.
And then Magus's castle is another one of those moments that's just so cool that people don't. Well, probably people talk about it all the time, but I know like when you get there, that part will always stick with me.
I've seen it from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part really got me. I loved it. Just
the camera pans up. Yeah.
And
you got the cutscenes, you actually see him and the moon and all that kind of thing.
Oh, and then when you go into the castle and you're just like, and then you see like, I love when you first go in that castle and you just see random people walking around. You see your mother. It's like, oh, Chrono, how are you? This is where you've been. It's like, we're in 600 AD. What are you doing here? And like, it depends on what characters you bring is who's going to be there. I know if you bring Robo, Doan, I think will be there. I never saw him because I never fuck Robo.
If you have Robo and not Luca, then Luca's there.
Oh, okay. I used Robo a little bit in this playthrough one time, but we'll talk about that later, but I stayed away from him mostly.
He's got his heal beam and his cure beams are pretty useful.
I actually really liked Robo my last playthrough.
I had just Chrono, Marl, and Ayla.
I like his Uzi punch, the rapid fire one that does a bunch of damage.
Yeah, Robo's a good character. I don't
They're all
like
good
Robo.
except Magus.
That's because Magus is an optional side-on character that just isn't really made for that much.
He gets access to all 4 schools of magic.
Sort of. He gets Fire 2, Lightning 2, and Ice 2.
It's the red mage.
Yeah, and Frog does get magic, but he gets water.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about the schools of magic.
No, we didn't. And there's also Shadow, but only Magus has a couple Shadow moves, and it really should have been more.
Robo's laser spin does shadow damage. I think a couple of the dual techs do it. But what is it Speaker says, like, deep inside everyone, they're attuned to a particular element? That's the explanation of why who has what.
Something like that.
Very, very fleeting explanation right when you get it. I was obviously not too impressed when you get your magic first off in the game. All he does is like unlock it in you.
Yeah, because the people used to have magic a long time ago, and
that's a reference more, to 12,000
Antiquity.
BC. Yeah, which they should have named just the Ice Age. Why didn't they do that?
Because dinosaurs died in the Ice Age. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your fit?
It's still BC.
My question is, like, BC represents before Christ. What does BC represent in this game?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
There is no Christ, so
before Chrono.
Yeah, I wonder.
He does get his Jesus pose later, so
he comes back from the dead.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe that's meant to be parallels somewhere.
You almost did it in your version, though, huh?
Maybe it almost.
You weren't going to do it.
What makes you think that I did it?
Because you couldn't beat it without him, I'm assuming.
Oh, you can totally beat it without him.
I know
we'll get there.
It's harder. But we will get there. So
what does AD stand for?
I got nothing. Yeah, they never explained that.
Maybe it's after death. Maybe
you're all dead this whole time.
Maybe he died in 12. Maybe no, because BC counts backwards. Never mind. I'm done.
Okay. So when you're in Magus' castle and like you see the people and it confuses you, and that part when you go through both sides of this tower and then go back, Ozzy shows up and talks about there's 100 fiends to kill in here, and I'm like, bring it on this time. I'm like, I'm excited because I just want to kill things. And God, I forgot how amazing Magus' castle is to me. Like I know part of it's nostalgic because it was such a big deal to me to get that far and to beat that in this game. But man, it is good. And this is also when you meet the other two part of Ozzy's group, Flea and Slash.
You got your little bat friend following you around.
Yeah, and I not for long because I always fight Flea first. So Flea is also, I think, the first trans character in one of these games that I can think of. I know
I think that's
RPG. I mean, because we're not thinking of like Final Fight.
Oh, good point. Poison. Yeah. RPG wise, like because I was curious about this whether it was an error with translation. But what I found on LGBTQGameArchive.com, it says,
wow.
Yeah, I know, I Googled. Chrono Trigger features Flea, a magician who is the 9th boss in the game. Flea is dressed in a feminine manner, but is described as he in the game. At one point in the game, Flea says, male, female, what does it matter? Power is beautiful. I got the power. Well, yeah, I thought that was interesting. So we're going to say Flea's transgender.
Poison was originally meant to be female, but they changed it in the English release just because it was frowned upon to beat up women. So they're like, okay, well, then she's trans. Yep,
but it's official too. At that,
which is interesting because it's not something. I mean, I want to say in 1995, people still are fighting with it, like they're okay with it or not. So it's kind of interesting to see that in this game.
I always like Flea sprites.
Yeah, Flea's cool. I always fight Flea first too, and then I go after Slash.
Back then, it could have been a much bigger deal, but it wasn't. Everybody just accepted it for what it was and moved on.
We probably made fun of it, unfortunately, I'm assuming.
At the time, we might have laughed a little bit, but I don't think, we were too young to really,
Yeah, we wouldn't have thought of it that way. I always thought of Flea as a cross-dresser, I think is what it was when I was younger.
Yeah, it's more of what I got from it.
Not really, I don't think that's what they were going for, though. I think they were going for transgender. Either way, Flea's a cool boss, though. Slash is an asshole. I don't care for the bald purple guy with a sword. Just don't.
Yeah, he's got a weird character design. He looks like Squidward without the nose.
Okay, I didn't expect that.
There's Ebony Maw from MCU.
I don't like. We'll get there. We'll get there in a few months from the time you're hearing this, but we're not that far away from Infinity War, Mike.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
We're like I think we're 3-4 movies off of it. 3 movies off of it before Infinity War.
It's not too far.
Yeah, it won't be long. couple months. So it's just, I mean, and then you go through Maze's castle is just cool as you're going through this castle, and Ozzy keeps throwing things at you and taunting you as you're progressing through this giant place. Like it's really nice. It's
Lee Slash and Ozzy. It's like Japanese people are, well, no, because their names in Japan were like their condiments. Like I think Flea was mayo or something.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, mayonai. But in the surprised. Localization, they're all rock people.
Who is Flea in rock?
Crap. Who is it? Guns N' Roses?
I got nothing.
I can't remember. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Michael Balzari.
Oh, okay.
The bassist.
Right. I know the Guns N' Roses one is Slash, and then the other one is Ozzy Osbourne, of course. That's cool, though. I never thought about that. Never. All the time I played this game, never once did I think about that to just now. So thank you.
Yep. I'm sure we'll talk more about Guns N' Roses and the freaking Mega Man X5 when we inevitably get to it.
I want to get there. I really want to play the rest of that series. I just do.
Moving on.
Yes, thank you. So as you finish up Magus' Castle, you fight Ozzy, which is not really a fight. You just hit little buttons and he falls down a hole because he's stupid. And when you finally get to Magus, though, God, that scene of walking up to him where all the fires start lighting up, these blue flames as you're getting to him, he's about to commit the ritual, which you think is to summon lavos or create lavos, but I love how you don't find out till after the fight. God, and that music, man, that music is so damn good. I can't believe I know I'm not the only one that loved Magus' theme.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, like we said, all the music in this game is good.
I mean, if I felt like I could, I would put music in this right here. You would hear Magus' theme, but I don't feel comfortable doing that because YouTube won't like that, nor will podcasting. Copyrights don't appreciate when you put music in. So
yeah,
I can't.
I don't know how some people get away with it. It would be cool, but
it doesn't. They're not going to bother you until you start making money. Then they're going to come after you. But just to avoid that ever happening, we just don't do it. So go look up Magus' theme if you're listening to this right now. You have time. It's good. I would say if you're driving, don't. But who's driving in 20? Everybody working from home. That's why people aren't downloading the show as much. So
while you're at it, look up a metal cover of Magus' theme. It's even more badass.
There's a metal cover of Magus' theme? Of course there is.
Yeah, there's covers to everything. Talking about.
I like the Robo cover though. That's my favorite. The Robo cover Rick Astley song, you know? Okay.
We got it.
You're like, I don't want to hear your joke, stupid joke.
Right before you get to the Magus fight, though, is my least favorite part in the game, is when you're chasing after Ozzy and he's got the room with all the pits.
That room's not so bad. You just save state and load. That's all.
Such a lame ass.
Playing with save states. So that's it. It's not about convenience for you. It's more about save stating. To get
the save states are convenient.
Yeah, well, I meant as in like physical convenience.
If you're not using save states, he's got certain parts of the floor rigged, so you step on, you fall down the hole, and then there's 4 save points around. 2 of them are fights, where you have to fight things that look like save points. One is an actual save point, and the other one takes you back to the entrance to the room. And usually in my experience, you experience that about 5 or 6 times, and then you can finally get out of there. It's a pain.
Okay, I do agree with you. It was annoying. I just didn't have a problem with it. So it's how I play games, okay?
Like, we know.
You have no idea how painful it was to play a game, and I had no way to look up things when I played Summerland for the early review, and I'm just like,
this is at least it's short.
Yeah, but I got lost in 30 minutes in a part I don't know what that's like. I'm like, I want to Google. Why can't I Google?
Also, for anyone wondering, Ozzy in Japan is vinegar and Slash is soy so. Wow. So you got mayonnaise, soy sauce, and vinegar.
Vinegar is not a condiment?
Yeah, technically. I mean, you can put it on food.
You can put a lot of things on food, but who the hell's doing that?
People like vinegar. I get vinegar and oil in my subs at Subway. That counts.
Okay. I'll give you that.
These are those tangents we were trying to avoid.
Hey, they're not that bad. They used to be a lot worse in this show.
The Magus fight.
It's so good. And then after you fight him a certain amount of time, his glove starts pulsating. Oh, I love that when he's trying to cast a spell. Oh, just...
Yep.
I was so pumped. So pumped playing this fight. I was so happy. I was like, yeah! I never get tired of fighting Magus in this game. I never get tired of this moment.
His background's pretty sweet, too. The statue with the flames over its hands.
Yeah, and when you beat him and you find out he's like, I wasn't, because they think he was creating lavos. I think they find out he was actually trying to summon lavos to this time.
To destroy it.
Yeah, which I'm assuming didn't work out so well.
Well, because he was weak after the fight, so...
I'm assuming it would work out well anyway.
Yeah, well.
He ain't that strong.
Well, in any timeline, he ends up dying anyway when it comes to that, because Medina Village just has a statue with his in their village.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. So he's and Magus' castle is right where Medina Village is too in 1000 AD,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't think about until just now. So okay, that's cool. And then you go back to the prehistoric era, which is you don't mean to, but because of levels being summoned, you get sent back there. And
this is one of those moments where a bigger time portal shows up out of nowhere, and people get separated or scattered across different time eras. So you go to the 65 million BC. Magus goes over to 12,000 BC and poses as the prophet.
Which is, okay, I always thought he went to 65,000 BC too, and then he found another portal, but that makes more sense that he got teleported there. Okay. Sometimes, I'm realizing things about this game I didn't really think about for a long time.
You just kind of accept it when you're younger.
Yeah, I played this game so many times too. It's just kind of like, okay.
It sounds like that could be confusing. That's actually pretty minor, because this game, for all the time travel that it does have, doesn't really get confusing. You don't really feel yourself lost, whereas every other game, it's like, what the hell's going on?
Where am I? When am I? What's going on? It's pretty simple plot overall.
It's one of the only time travel stories I really enjoy.
Actually makes sense.
And that's one reason why.
I mean, but there's nobody yelling, you create a time paradox! So, there's a point for that.
Well, Ocelot was talking shit, so I shot him.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I can't wait till we do Snake Eater in this show.
It's coming up.
I'm shooting him right in the face, too, just to get that. Just because. Fuck Ocelot. So, when you go back to Pretor era, I actually enjoyed this part a lot more than I thought I would in this playthrough, because, one, I like Ayla now, so I was excited to use Ayla. And, like, the town, not your town, but another town gets raided by the reptiles, and they capture people, and they also capture Kino for some reason. And you have to go rescue Kino. So you get to ride dactyls, which are really just a flying mechanism to get you to where the reptiles have like this giant fortress on top of a volcano. And that is a fun dungeon. Like, I had a lot more fun this time than I ever did before running through that place.
There's a lot of fights in this place.
Oh, yeah. There are so many fights. But I had fun. Like, I really had fun this time.
We actually hadn't touched on the fact that there aren't random battles in this game. Like, there are set places where you're going to fight the same fight every time. So it's possible to clear out an area, well, until you go off screen and come back, but you can get to the point where there are no more fights on the particular screen that you're on.
That's one thing I appreciated about the game, too, because random battles in, like, let's say Final Fantasies or most other JRPGs can get rather annoying.
Oh, yes.
And this game, they're not annoying at all, I don't think.
No.
You can avoid a lot of them, too, though, if you want.
Yeah, there are some that are mandatory that just kind of pop out and make you fight them, but...
Yeah, but... Still cool.
That's nothing compared to random battles.
Oh, I have a dumb question for you. So, do you think when Colonel was about to fight, do you think he ripped off his shirt first before every fight? Because that's what you do before a fight, I heard.
What the hell?
Okay. A couple days ago, here's a rant. A couple days ago, I was talking to some guy, and he was telling me the story. Like, I took off my shirt. I'm ready to fight. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, I took off my shirt. Didn't want to get dirty. I'm like, what? Just leave the shirt on.
I thought maybe it was a Goku thing.
No, it wasn't. It's just this guy that I know is a cheapskate, and he didn't want to ruin his shirt, is what it was. But so he had some people over at his house, and then somebody was insulting his daughter, and they were arguing. So he was out there ready to fight because he was getting tired of the noise in his house, and he started to take off his shirt. And I'm just like, why don't you just unbuckle your pants next time? Just drop your pants, and this 300-pound guy running at him, you won the fight already. I promise you.
Yeah,
300-pound buck naked guy.
Really fast.
I'm out the door. I'm not sticking around. Be a lot scarier.
What the hell kind of people are you conversing with, Mike? Jesus.
I'll say that after the show. But yeah, I was just like, just next time, leave the shirt on. Don't need to take the shirt off. You can buy
it's kind of scary if it's a 300-pound guy. It's kind of.
It was a 400-pound guy that he was about to go fight with, so he might not have been that scared of a 300-pound guy. Who knows? But so as I was saying, the whole reptile thing is just so cool. I and
that's
like
the turn. Go ahead, Mike. Continue.
Part where you get into where you fight the boss, the Black Tyranno, you just see this giant dinosaur on a leash chained up. It's so damn good.
Yeah, pretty cool monster design on that one.
It's a fun fight. You have to beat Azula first, so she stops healing him, and then you can kill him. He does like a countdown attack where he burns the hell out of you. Oh, so cool.
So you got to get that ruby mail to mitigate the fire damage.
I got all that.
Oh,
I always did update my armor every time. And also in the prehistoric time, they don't take your money for armor. You have to fight enemies and get drops like petals and flowers, and then trade those in to get armor, which I thought was cool too.
It's very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike the future where they're like, is this money? Well, I'll take it anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They don't care. They're all skeletons. So, and then, like, when you finish, like, when you beat the Reptites, I love how that's when Lavos is coming, and Lavos ends up wherever the... Do we ever know where Lavos came from?
Space.
Yeah, they don't say specifically.
Okay, and they don't say in Chrono Cross here, do they?
I don't think so.
Okay, I know Cross was a lot more into Lavos.
Yeah, I was going to say, is Lavos a big part of that one?
Yes.
Kind of.
That's hard to say. They focus more on the frozen flame and all that, which is from Lavos, but his origins, not so much.
Okay.
We're going to have to play that someday.
Oh, episode 200.
Okay.
I mean, unless it comes sooner, but I feel like Cross should be another big episode.
Look forward to that in 2 years, folks.
Because Cross will have to be a big one when we do it, because it's really... I don't think I can shorten it like I am with this one.
That story is way more convoluted, so we'd have to really dig through that one, comb through every possible thing.
It's multiple discs, right?
2.
Yeah,
Yes.
Let's do an episode per disc.
I don't think you understand what Cross is like.
Hey,
Apparently not.
Cross is good, all right?
It's not... I only played it once back in the day, and I've never went back to it, even though I've been
Did you only play it once? Holy shit.
I didn't like it as much.
Well, it was never going to be any Trigger, for sure. It does not measure up, but nonetheless, it is a good game.
Also harder. Trigger's not hard.
It is not at all.
A couple of the boss fights are tricky, but once you know what you're doing.
Not compared to some RPGs of this era, it's really not that hard. But when Lavos comes, he wipes out the Reptite. What I think is cool is that because of him landing, all the Reptites are destroyed, and that's why you don't see Reptites again ever.
This is basically what killed the dinosaurs.
Yeah, which is cool. I like how they incorporate that into the story.
And what is the main Reptite's name? Azala, is it?
Yes.
Azala, yeah.
So she actually declines their offer to take her along with them,
which is
to be
cool.
saved.
I like that a lot too.
So there could have been one Reptite at least, but no.
This is where the name Lavos comes from, right? La means fire and Vos means big or something?
Yep.
That's correct.
Big fire. Which again is cool. And then this is when the game starts getting a little more twisty because they start learning more about Lavos, but because of Lavos landing and he burrows into the earth, there's a time portal that you find that you take that then brings you to 1200 BC, which is the Antiquity era, which is where the game really starts getting very story heavy. And it's probably, I know, Rich's favorite place in the entire game, Zeal.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly.
I mean,
that
Zeal is this...
there, man, but you talk about a peaceful place. Like, End of Time is great, but Zeal looks like a paradise.
It's a big floating continent.
So not on the surface, but up in the sky.
Oh, surface, yeah, it was pretty bad. But like when you in the sky, they have this giant castle, and everyone can do magic. And the music is just so good too.
And the game does introduce classism at that point in the game.
So now we had racism before with the monsters and not liking humans. Now we have classism.
And I'm glad they actually implemented those elements because I think those make for interesting storylines. So it worked out pretty well.
Except in real life. I'm not too crazy about them in real life, though.
Oh, in real life, it's fucking
I'd
terrible.
enjoy our current experience of it, basically.
Real life would be better if we had magic.
Yes, it would. I wouldn't mind some magic. But I don't have enough mitochondria, so I don't have magic, I guess. That's how it works, I've heard.
I don't think that's a big part of third birthday.
Everything about, like, Zeal is just so cool and charming and, like, everything gold, and it's just... But it's also so dark, because as you're progressing through this place, this is when you meet Magus as a kid. You don't know that at first. But he does make the comment where he says something about the black wind howls, and the same thing Magus says, and he says, one of you will die soon.
Perish.
And, spoiler alert, someone does.
What's his purple cat's name?
Alphador, I think.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, he had a name?
Yeah, he says at one point, he's like, don't bother. He only likes me.
Yeah, I can make us as an asshole.
We meet his big sister, Shala.
I like her, but there's not enough with her.
No, there's not.
Yeah, but now you talk about a character that they focus way more on in Cross. That is one of them.
Oh, cool.
I wish I knew what you were talking about.
That's exciting.
The character Kid it's like a huge connection to her. As far as I'm not actually going to ruin that.
No, not this
played it yet. So yeah, I'll keep that in. But Kid has a big connection to Shalin.
Cool.
Yeah, we're going to cover Radical Dreamers next at some point, and then we will get to Chrono Cross. Maybe before episode 200.
I'll be honest with you, too. I have not actually fully played through Radical Dreamers.
Oh, you will be.
That is the only one I haven't.
So, I downloaded it at your house back in the day.
I remember. I definitely played it. I just never fully went through it.
It's not long.
Even as a 16-bit sprite, Shyla's super pretty. Like, there's something about it.
Very interesting character. I mean, she's the catalyst of one of the best backstories or side stories in all of Trigger. I mean, the best backstories of any characters in the game have to do with Magus and Frog. And Magus is now on the hunt eventually for his sister when she disappears.
Which I thought is cool. Like the whole thing where we said he becomes the prophet and he's trying to change what happened and save his sister and stop waffles and when you find out that Queen, his mother, is fucking psychopath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. I like that too. And like how she just she's trying to summon Lavos get Lavos from underground and use him to get power or something, I think.
Yeah, because that always goes so well in these stories.
She wants to become immortal.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah. She actually achieves it because when the Black Omen rises, which we'll get to later, it's throughout every era, and she's there every time.
Good point. I didn't think about that.
And that's what the Mammon machine was created for. So the gurus made it to help her gain immortality, and they realized how dangerous it was when it came to bringing it closer to Lavos and what could happen. So they wanted to get rid of it. They were all banished. Whatever.
Okay. It's just cool as Zeal. And you meet Dalton, the asshole with the orange cape, and
also in Zeal we meet Maza and Mune in their original time period.
I thought that was cool too. And then you end up getting beaten, or you fight a hard boss that you can kill, but then you get captured and thrown in a cell where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna enjoy torturing you and killing you painfully." I'm like, okay, not very nice, but all right.
By the way, the Masamune does make its way to Chrono Cross in a different form.
I wish I could remember what you're talking about. I haven't played it in so long.
I have it on my Vita.
You need to play it again.
I'm going to.
I think as an adult, you're going to appreciate it a little bit better.
It's going to happen on the show. It just hasn't happened yet. But
matter time. I
mean, every 50 episodes we do a big RPG. So, or every 25. Sorry, every 25 episodes. And 125 are a big RPG plan. 150 have a big RPG plan. So Chrono Cross might fall in 200. We'll see. Or I might switch. Yeah, we'll see. Depends on my mood. When I put together the schedule.
We see Shyla's got the same pendant that Princess Nadia has.
Yeah.
And hers can open these doors that we saw in 2300 AD.
Which is, I like that. I like when they give you that ability when you find out that when you throw the pendant in the Mammon machine, like gel, goo, you end up getting the ability to open up doors.
Yeah, you get to power it up.
Which is...
So, a lot of the big story points happen in Zeal. So, do you guys know or recall how the Masamune is made? How the pendant ends up in the royal family?
No.
It's all that red rock, isn't it?
So let's start with the Masamune. So there was the ruby knife, right? That was made out of dreamstone. And that it needs to be used. Melchior ends up telling you, like, hey, you can use this to destroy the Mammon machine. You need this to destroy it. Once you go to that mountain area and all that, you get it, throw it at the machine. It then, because of the power of the Mammon machine, turns into the Masamune as it's stuck in there.
Ew. It does use that same sprite, I noticed, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. Same exact sprite. So, and then when it comes to the Zeal falling, which we'll all get to, I'm sure, the fall of Zeal, the pendant gets picked up by the lower class citizens and eventually passed down through generations and makes its way to the Guardia family.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's cool. I did not know that. I didn't put that together either this time. I wasn't paying attention, I guess. You can believe that. Me not paying attention to something like that. I just love the gameplay too. But I mean, I love the story, but so much is already in my head that I wasn't as reading as much as I probably should have around this time.
And those are smaller details. If you miss them, you're not missing really anything in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, but in Zeal, I did make sure to talk to the random woman and tell her not to burn her plant. I made sure to do that.
You might do that.
Which I love how that's how you do a side quest that we're going to talk about a little bit later, just by talking to this one random person and telling her, yeah, don't burn that plant that Zeal told you to. Yeah, don't do that. She's crazy. And after you get captured by them and they throw you in that cell and they threaten to torture you, Scala and the Prophet save you, but they kick you out and then seal the portal that you used to get here. And then when you go back to the end of time, he's like, because you got to get back there to do what you need to do. And you're like, well, he's like, I didn't know it's someone making a time machine. And there's a small, depending on how you play this game, there's a side quest when you're in the future where you can go through the sewers and run into this old man who's one of the prophets, or not prophets, but like gurus from the Zeal era. And he'll talk a little bit about time machine or something. But when you go back there at this point in the game, he's built his, I think is he dead?
Yeah,
when you go back, yeah, Balthazar. When you go back, he's dead.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in the construct, more or less.
Okay. I couldn't remember exactly, but I know and then you get the epoch, which is a time machine, but it has no wings or anything at this point. It's just a ship you get into and it transfers you different times.
You just can't fly yet.
But I was thinking to myself, what if you went to what if that land that you're on is underwater at different points in time? Like, when you're like, uh-oh, hit that button fast now. Like, come on, we gotta go.
It floats.
I hope so. What if you're inside a mountain?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up next.
Like, we're dead.
Yeah, game over, buddy.
But that's how you get back to the Antiquity era, and you go back up to the Zeal's palace, and you go right back to Zeal, and I think this is when you find out that they're all in the Ocean Palace underground trying to wake up Lavos. And man, the Ocean Palace is something else, so that music too. Mm-hmm. Oh. Man, it's so weird me gushing about music, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, it's something else though. Like the Ocean Palace. Like I remember I was kind of scared of it when I first did it. When I was a kid, that place just was hard on me. But now I'm like, this is fine. The enemies are fine. It was fine. It was nothing wrong with it.
Even before you get down in there, you climb up the chain.
Oh, Mount Woe, yeah, when you rescue Melchior. You can talk about that real quick.
But Melchior, in his original time, so he's like, who the hell are you people? Why do you know me? And you fight the Giga Gaia. Big, stupid-looking, Mega Man X-looking boss. His dumb face.
Yes, he is stupid.
He's got to take it out of his hands because he keeps counterattacking otherwise.
Luminaire does wonders.
His face is dumb. So is Falcon Head if you use dual text.
Yeah.
Ayla picks up Chrono and he flies in horizontally off screen and attacks everything in a line.
I never saw that ability in this playthrough. Not once.
And you can use Volt Chomp where Chrono strikes her with lightning and then she does her cat attack.
I saw that a couple times.
I don't like that one.
It's okay. I didn't use it very much.
And by this point, I think I had Ice 2 on Marl and what's the throw that Ayla gets? I don't know. But
Rock throw.
Yeah. Or she shoots this giant ice chunk, and then Ayla throws it, and it sends up this torrent of ice energy. It's my favorite attack in the game. It's so powerful.
It is cool. I just never used it, but it is damn cool.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe used it once. I didn't, then I was done after that. So, like, one of the next things that, like, after you rescue Melchior, that's when you go to the Ocean Palace, and, like, the Ocean Palace...
Fight Dalton, and then he goes down there, and then you follow him down there.
Dalton's an asshole.
Yeah, it's a stupid fight.
Everything with Dalton's stupid.
No, he comes back in Cross.
Is he in Cross?
So to some effect.
Rich, you remember?
If he does, I don't recall which part.
I don't think he's in Cross.
Pretty sure I read that.
Oh, there's a line that we're going to talk about in the DS that they added that puts him in something to do with Cross, but I don't think he's actually in
Maybe
Cross.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, like him as a character, I don't think he's in it, but mention of him might happen.
Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely not in Cross, though. Because I just looked up stuff with him and then nothing came up.
Huh. Yeah, it must have been the DS tie-in that I was thinking of then.
Yeah, because Cross is very, very loosely connected to Trigger. Like, it's really not. It's more of a spin-off
Out of
thing.
How many characters are there? Like, maybe upwards of 40? Something like that? But you don't have any that overlap from the previous game.
No, and it's the same time. They really could have, but they just don't do anything.
And barely any of them have any connection to characters in the previous game. The only one that really does is, Kid. That's it.
Yeah, it's
and you get a robot from the Poor A Army.
Oh, God. Was that the thing that used to be my avatar back in the Go chat rooms?
Yeah, Grobik.
I forgot all about that.
So did I until you brought it up.
Yeah, aren't you happy I did?
Not at all.
Okay, good. We won't go into those old days.
Yeah, let's not.
So, and like after you get to the Ocean Palace, this is like one of the biggest scenes of the game, though, too, where you get down there and you end up they summon Lavos and you end up fighting him, sort of. But you can't win the fight. I tried.
He ends up beating your ass.
Possible, not your first time through, but we'll talk about that later.
I tried on my second time through. I mean, the damage he does is ridiculous.
It's definitely stronger here than he is at the end of the game.
Yeah. Can you actually beat that fight?
Yeah.
Wow. What happens?
It triggers one of the endings. I think it's the same one if you beat him immediately with just Chrono and Meryl.
Wow, that's cool. I did not know that. You taught me something new, Mike.
Cool.
All
That's what I'm here for.
I don't think that's what you're here for, but I'll take it. Okay, cool. I'm really happy now. I learned something new about my favorite game. I never did it, and probably never will.
It's like I couldn't do it.
It's hard. But so what happens here is this is also where Chrono then dies. He sacrifices himself to save Magus, I guess?
Yeah, we find out that the prophet is
Shala.
Magus.
Shala's about to die. But he just
okay.
Because Magus is like, I'm finally going to fight you, and then he attacks and does nothing, so...
All right.
He then realizes this huge parasite that's been conserving energy for millions of years is way too strong for him.
Weird. He thought he was going to kick his ass with a scythe.
Yeah, imagine that, huh?
Yeah, he gets his ass handed to him. And when I couldn't believe that they let Chrono die. Either, too. It's just they just kill a main character.
And that was unheard of at the time. Again, something innovative like that is something we never saw it before.
Kind of. Not not the main character, but there's been other Square RPGs where the big characters die.
What game?
4.
They don't die in 4, even when they jump off an airship with a belt. He's fine. You find him sleeping. He's just tired.
Twins that turn to stone.
Yeah, but
they get
that's
saved.
Temporary.
Oh yeah.
No one actually dies in 4 like they should.
5, Goluf dies.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, fuck Goluf.
But he wasn't the main protagonist. He was part
exactly.
Of the team,
yeah.
It's okay. He gave all his abilities over to his niece or whatever the hell she was, and then he's fine. Her granddaughter.
General Leo died in 6.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's not playable.
Yeah.
Chrono even T-poses to show his dominance over Lavos, and he still dies.
And then after that, Lavos and the thing is, you can actually go finish the game now, because this is when you're the end game, essentially, where Chrono dies, you're all defeated, you go back to the end of time, or no, you get, I'm skipping a part. After this happens, you get captured, or no, you wake up in a small town which is left, because Zeal ends up going down after this fight with Lavos. That's what I want to say. And
shoots energy into the sky and cuts up the floating islands.
It is cool. It is really cool.
It's a good cutscene.
And then after that happened, Zeal falls, you just see giant tidal waves hitting the land, and the land is just mostly destroyed except for this small little group of people who are living on an island, or on a land.
It's amazing the world comes back from this.
Yeah, you didn't think it would.
Since everyone on the floating rock is no doubt dead, and most of the people on the ground are dead.
Yeah, no one. You aren't going to survive that. And then you wake up in the town, and you're talking to the mayor, or whatever the fuck he is, and then Dalton asshole shows up. Okay, I didn't catch this back then, but you're talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, look behind you!" You turn around, and he shoots you in the back.
It's the stupidest thing.
It really is. This whole part you could just take out, and I'd be okay. I love this game, but you could take out this part.
It was facepalm worthy.
And then you wake up in a ship, you're in a little room, and you have none of your equipment.
The Blackbird, which you find out real quick when you go up the ladder, and you're just looking out at empty sky.
I really like that, though. That's a really cool moment. To be able to go outside and then you see that, it's so cool to me.
And if you're listening to this and playing it for the first time, make sure you have Ayla in your party at this point, because otherwise, whenever someone sees you, they throw you back in the cell.
Oh, that's what happens?
Mm-hmm. Whereas she can actually fight.
I never had Ayla not in my party, so...
It's the preferred way to play.
For this part, because I knew what was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You have to go around the interior of the ship and look for the chests that have your equipment scattered throughout it. It's not great. It just feels kind of like padding. Which is fine, because the game's not super long.
No, game's 15 hours long?
Yeah.
It's that? Not a long game, surprisingly. Especially for being one of the top RPGs, it's that people look at. It's a short game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then after this, you can go beat the game if you want. In multiple different ways. You don't have to go save Chrono. You can just
we gotta talk about the... What does Dalton call it? He renames the...
Oh, yeah, he fixes your epoch and gives it wings.
The Arrow, Dalton, Imperial.
Fuck Dalton. I don't like Dalton. I don't like anything to do with Dalton.
He gives the ship wings. That's pretty cool.
I mean, that part is cool.
The biggest egotistical asshole in the entire game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, agreed.
He burps at you.
When he dies.
His burp.
Yeah, he's a really annoying guy, though.
Yeah, like you said, you can go beat the game now. You don't have to do anything else. You're going to be sorely under-leveled, but it is possible.
And I think
you're going to miss out on some cool side quests.
Yeah, I mean, I never did it, but it's cool that you can. It's cool that the game gives you that ability.
Well, the Sunstone, the Fiona side quest,
the Rainbow Shell.
And that's what's so cool. I mean, for me, I always go and resurrect Chrono immediately.
Because you go back to the end of time, and Gaspar's like, oh, where's the other guy? He's like, oh, well, I have this thing called the Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
So, it's said to be able to resurrect life or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
They mentioned that Gaspar, in Zio, they mentioned that Gaspar is actually working on it, but they don't know what it is.
It's cool, and like how you have to go get Chrono back is so awesome. Where you have to go to the Millennial Fair again and do this stupid little Simon Says game. And if you do it right, then you can buy a doll that the guy made of Chrono, and you put it in your room, and you go to his mom's. Oh, where's Chrono? He hasn't been home lately. That's still touching.
Mm-hmm. I like that you go talk to her with him in your party, and you get little vignettes of her meeting all the other party members. It's cute. Or she's like, Sister Robo, are you one of Lucas' inventions?
I don't remember that.
That's the only thing that can make sense to her. Nobody's ever seen anything of that's that technologically advanced, so It's got to be Luca.
Yep.
That makes sense. And then after you finish, and then you go to the future, talk to the guy that gave you the epoch or the new, and you have to go up a really stupid mountain I don't like. And it's really hard on touchscreen, by the way. Really hard touchscreen.
Oh, I bet.
And you go up, because there's some parts you have to run behind a tree, and you have to go across a slicky surface.
Also where you see the lava spawn for the first time.
Which is cool.
Mm-hmm. This is the payoff for telling the woman not to burn the tree, right? Because it's the first one you had. It's not?
That's the Fiona.
A Fiona's? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but the lava spawn, the idea is for them to grow bigger and eventually travel to their own planets to feed off of those planets and wipe out the resources and keep the chain going. And this is where you first run into them.
They remind me of the first boss from Final Fantasy VI, where you can't attack the shell or else it counterattacks.
Right. Yeah, you gotta attack the eye, which is kind of a heads up, or how it's gonna be when you face Lavos himself.
Mm-hmm.
Which is definitely, I like that. And then when you get up to that tree finally after the stupid mountain and you save Chrono, like that part is so cool. Like they lifted the egg up, the egg just breaks, and they're like, "There's no Chrono," and they think it failed. And you see an eclipse, and then they go back in time to the moment he died, and they're able to put the fake clone in there and pull him out. Oh, that is cool.
I wonder if they saw Dracula's castle in the eclipse.
Yeah.
A Sorrow reference.
That was cool. And, I mean, so, Mike, did you resurrect Chrono this playthrough, or did you try to beat it without him?
I did beat it without him. I didn't do anything. I
told you. You're like, screw this.
Got other games to play. I don't have time for this.
Okay. I don't understand how you can be such a monster, but okay.
I'll make it up to you. I'll make it up to you later in the episode.
Surprise. Mike is a mystic.
Magus will rise again.
Oh, I also say Magus too, because like there's a part before you resurrect Chrono or after, you can go to, I think before you go to this little cape and you'll run into Magus and you can either fight him or forgive him. If you forgive him, he joins you. That's how you got to go.
And actually, when you talk to him, he kind of gives you a little backstory on what happens, because it shows the rest of the gurus being sent to their various times, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, it is. So, Mike, I'm going to share a little something here. I don't know if you remember this, but I actually wrote a short story based on that exact scene where he's on the cape after Zeal plummets.
Vaguely, now that you mention it.
So, and I actually sent that into, I think it's still around, Chrono Compendium, and they uploaded it, and I have no idea if it's still there.
Huh.
But it was based on that one scene.
Chrono Compendium, the site's still there.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm referring to. But I don't know if my story is still there. I haven't dug around the site to see, but And man, it had to be like what, over
15
15 years ago?
Oh yeah, because my son's 13, so that should put some perspective on it.
Yeah.
Before that, so it's been a long ass time. And then you can play this game like so differently. You don't have to do any of the side quests, like we were saying. You can go beat the game multiple different ways. You can either take the epoch, drive straight into lavos, and do just the final fight. You can go through a bucket that's been there ever since you got to end of time. That will lead to the final fight. You got to go through a whole lavos fight where you got to fight. He takes the form of other old bosses, and it's really stupid. Or you go through a giant Black Omen dungeon, fight a ton of hard bosses, and then you fight the lavos fight. Then you fight the final lavos fight. Oh yeah, it's cool.
That was the cool thing about that game too, is that it had a new game plus feature, which was pretty new to me. I don't think I ever played a game before that had the feature at the time.
I feel like it existed, but this was the game that named it New Game Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a staple in RPGs these days.
Yeah,
but it wasn't then.
Yeah. Me personally.
Okay, the option itself dates back decades, but the term New Game Plus wasn't actually used until Chrono Trigger. So yeah, I don't know what game first had it, but Chrono Trigger had multiple endings. So
I mean, I guess you could say that like the original Super Mario Brothers, because you have the second quest in there, if that counts.
Zelda had the second quest too, where you rename it or something.
Yeah, but you don't start with any of your stuff. I guess you don't Mario either. Whatever.
No.
Yeah, you pretty much have all your equipment, levels, items, all from the previous save.
But not money. I thought that was weird.
Yeah, it is a bit weird.
I guess you really don't need it at that point.
You don't need money in this game, yeah. Not really. Not at that point. You have all the good equipment you get through.
You're never struggling. Yeah, it's all anything you can buy. It just never matches up to the side quest.
Buy shelters. That's all you need.
I do like all the side quests too. I think they're all really, really good.
So we want to. We don't need to go through all of them. Do we want to touch on some of them though?
Well, we can touch on all of them real fast. There's a couple that will be quick sentences, like we talked about before. One I want to start with, like the one that when you tell the girl not to burn the plant, you end up finding out that in 600 AD there's a sand hole now because this desert where Fiona lives that was forced earlier in the game, like not complete forest, but a little bit forced, is now completely a desert, and she tells you somebody is killing it. And that's how you find out that you go down in this hole, which is very quick. You end up just fighting a monster.
Yeah,
a few monsters,
like but Zombor.
Yeah. I like Zombor.
He's got a cool design, yeah.
It's definitely interesting.
The thing that highlighted this one, though, is leaving Robo to... So like, someone has to replant the trees, so you leave Robo in 600 AD, and then jump forward to 1000, and like it's a forest again, and you find him all rusted and destroyed in this big shrine. He's like, for you, it's just a hop between timelines, but for me, I've been here for 400 years planting these trees.
It's really cool. And no matter, like, whenever you go back there and drive through, he's always there working, even though he's in your party. I love that, too.
Oh, this is where you get the camping scene, too.
One of the best scenes in gaming.
I know you like that one.
Yeah, it is, man. It's a beautiful scene. And then you get Luca's pretty much like a flashback with her mom.
Yeah, it's where you can save her if you read notes and know what the hell you're doing.
Oh, by the way, you also see Luca's house in Cross, and Kid also has a connection with Luca too. So when you play it, it's all going to come to you.
Okay, you'll be on that when we get there someday. Won't be anytime soon.
Man. I need to play it again, so I'll be waiting.
So I did everything wrong in this playthrough. Like I thought I had to fight Magus to recruit him, so I killed Magus, didn't resurrect Chrono, and I was doing Lucas' part, and I'm like, where do I go to put the password in? And I didn't get in time, and her mom still ended up being crippled.
You're a monster.
Hey, the last two were accidents. Resurrecting Chrono was intentional, just because I knew it'd get a rise at you on the episode.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't save him. That's just monster. Best character in the damn game. He's power-wise.
He is easily the strongest.
Great. I mean, all you need is Chrono, Ayla, and Morrow, and you're good to go.
True.
That's all I did.
Luminaire and Cube Toss.
I didn't do that, but...
Missing out.
Yeah. So the Zombor thing is that's cool, and you can get some really good equipment too from the church that ends up getting built up where they were. There's one with and each character kind of gets their own side quest. There's one with Robo, which I'm going to do real briefly because it doesn't need a lot. Where you go to some futuristic factory where they're killing humans. That is a cool thing, but it's my least favorite.
Mother Brain.
Yeah, it's my least favorite of all the side quests.
What was stupid to me about it is that Robo had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
What's her name? Like Arthropos or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something along those lines.
It's dumb.
Astros or something like that.
You got to fight
you
her.
Find out Robo's name is not just... He's got 3 names in the game. He's got Robo, he's got R66Y, and he's got Prometheus. Which they just happened to throw in there. So I don't know if they were trying to reference, but 3 different names.
Atropos is her name.
There you go.
I thought it was funny they named the boss Mother Brain.
Yeah, she's a fine fight, but that's
no resemblance at all. But
and then one of the other side quests you do is we mentioned it briefly. There's a Sunstone where this one's kind of cool. Where you go in the future, you fight this stupid, terrible boss fight, get an item, go back to the prehistoric era, put the item in a spot, go back to the future era, find out the item's missing, and then go to 1000 AD to find out that some rich, stubborn guy took the item. The mayor, and is lying to you unless you go back to 600 AD and buy an item in 1000 AD. I know I'm being confused.
You gotta give them jerky, is it?
Yeah, you gotta give it to him. You can't sell it to her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought it was cool. You can see his house shining from the world map, so you know where it's at.
I love how when you talk to his kids, I hate my dad. He's an asshole.
You won't give us jerky.
And then after you do that, then he's all friendly and he's all nice. He's giving away everything. I thought that was cool.
So, you want this stone? You can have it. I probably should have just left it where I found it.
Or in the DS version, he says somebody gave it to him. Or he bought it off somebody or something.
It's probably Tama.
Tama wouldn't have been around in 1000. He's already dead. I forgot that you can find Toma or Tama, whatever the hell his name is, in 600 AD at a bar.
It is Toma.
But I never go see him. There's no point because I don't go in that bar.
That's how you start the Cyrus quest.
You don't have to. No. You don't have to
you
do
did. You see him to find get his soda or spirits in the DS version?
Yeah, but that's for the Rainbow Shell quest.
Oh. You're right.
You can skip him in Truce, but you can go back to you can go back to the town that's to the right of where you're at, where you need the epoch to get to. And when you go there and talk, and you'll see him in the bar, talk to him, and then you go get the soda pop, as I remember it, in the SNES version, pour it, and you go back to 1000 AD, pour it on his grave, and then he tells you to go where the Rainbow Shell is, and to go back 600 AD, and then go get the Rainbow Shell.
Because as you see him throughout the game, he's talking about this big treasure he's looking for.
You see him one other time.
Yeah.
If you go to a certain spot earlier in the game, yes.
He's a very fully fledged character. I wonder if he was meant to be playable at some point. He looks way different than everyone else. Yeah, you're right. It does seem kind of he's not really much. He's just there. Mm-hmm. Like one of the Cyrus flashbacks, you see the big frog thing. That's a very detailed sprite for a one-off. It's I wonder if that was supposed to be a boss that you fought.
Yeah, could have been. Could have been something more they had planned. They just never got around to it.
I like stuff like that.
Me too. I've been a fan of that type of stuff. So, and I kind of started. We'll talk about the Rainbow side quest real quick. So you end up, this one's kind of A-list side quest where you find out that there's dinosaurs living in this cave, and you go through a giant cave and the ruins of the dungeon where you fought Azula, and you end up getting. When
lava struck the palace, it pushed it into the earth.
Yeah, sure, okay.
I think they mentioned that as you go into.
They do, but I feel like it would have just been destroyed, not in the earth. But all right,
it's strong. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. Yeah, I know, but I like it nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. You gotta fight the Rust Tyranno.
I like that fight.
Stronger version of the Dark Tyranno.
Okay. I guess, yeah. And then you get the Rainbow Shell. And then I like how you go to the castle. You don't have to do anything, but they go to the castle, get it. And then you go back into 1000 AD for Marl's side quest where you find out that the Rainbow Shell now is there and they know it, even though she doesn't really know what it is. And it's been stolen. And you have a whole...
You just have done this side quest to get it brought to the 600 AD castle, and she's like, "What? We don't have any treasure." And one of the other party members is like, "Don't you remember we rewrote the timeline, so the Rainbow Shell is here."
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
I was spell it out for the player, but we're going to make our character look like an idiot in the process.
Yeah, it's okay. She deserves it sometimes. And then you have the trial is fun, where her dad is the king. Her dad is on trial because the shell's been stolen, they think, or he sold it, and I like that part. And then you have to go down into the storeroom that wasn't there before if you go there, and then you find out that it's actually there. You kill old monsters from the cathedral. They're the same level and everything. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out that the Chancellor is also the descendant and is a monster, and you fight him again.
Mm-hmm. Like we talked about earlier in the episode. Yakura the 13th.
It's cool. It's definitely something that was very interesting to me, and I was very much a fan of the side quest.
I like Meryl jumping through the stained glass window.
Me too. She wouldn't be okay, but yeah.
Nah, very cinematic.
It is cool as hell. And you were starting to mention the Cyrus side quest. There's the ruins where you meet Toma, where you have to go back to 600 AD and you fight ghosts and things, and you got to go talk to some idiot, and he goes and fixes things. But I love how it's a side quest where they really use the time. Like, in order to get him to work on the castle, you have to go to the future, talk to a lazy guy at the bar who doesn't want to stop drinking. He's like, I'm too busy drinking to get to work on anything right now. And his wife just gives you his tools, says, well, yeah, fuck him. Here's the tools.
It would have been nice if the guy in 600 would be like, wow, these look really fancy.
That would have been cool. and so, I mean, I like how they did find a way to work it in. Like, the whole Cyrus castle is kind of fun. You go through, fight things. You get actually some of the best equipment in that castle if you do the time thing where you go in 600 AD, look at a chest that you can't open up the pendant, say no, go to the future, open that same chest, and then it's a better equipment.
Yeah, you basically charge it up with the Mammon machine energy and make it better.
Yeah, you get some of the people's best. You get Morrow's best weapon in there that way. Mm-hmm. And then you also go to Cyrus's grave, Frog's little scene where he holds up his sword and makes Cyrus whole again or whatever, and
powers up Masamune again. Yeah,
it's really good.
I did like that.
What other side quests am I missing that we mentioned? Cover the Sunstone, and then you get the Rainbow Shell. Melchior uses the Rainbow Shell after the trial to make you the second best weapon for Chrono, and then if you have the Sunstone first, and then you get some cool equipment.
I think in this SNES that was the best version, wasn't it, or the best one?
It is in the SNES version, yeah.
Yeah.
The DS they add one better sword that you get at the very, very end that you'll never use.
I think the only other one we didn't touch on is Ozzy's Fort.
Oh, Ozzy's Fort is stupid.
It's just a series of fights. There's nothing too spectacular. You fight Ozzy Flash and Sleep powered up. It's the first time you actually get to fight Ozzy.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. And you can charm them for some good equipment if you have Ayla, where she can charm stuff. And potentially steal.
They hit you with dual techs, which you've been using. Well, I used the whole game.
It was cool, though, they can do that.
Cool to see the enemies do what you do.
Yeah. And then you can go beat the game. I went through Black Omen to beat the game on my first playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
But in the DS version, they actually added another side quest. They added a couple side quests, but one is a monster training thing.
Oh yeah, I didn't touch that.
Did you ever do it, Rich?
Too much. If I did, it was back when I first played the DS version. But I didn't recall it at all, honestly.
After I beat the game, I went into it and they started the little cutscene talking about it. I'm like, I don't care about this. Yeah. I just turned it off.
I didn't care either. So, and then there's that, but they add this dungeon, which I kind of like, called the Dimensional Vortex, right? Or is that the other thing?
No, I think that's
the other thing. It's some like hidden reptite village that still exists in 600 AD and 65,000 BC, where you have to go there 65,000 and like you kill monsters and you go back and forth to two different eras doing lots of fetch quests, lots and lots of fetch quests.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And when I played the DS version before, I actually skipped one of the quests where there's like a whole nother, in this cave system, a whole nother layer of monsters, of dinosaurs that are going to kill the reptiles if you don't stop it. And you fight one of the worst bosses I've ever fought. And it's two bosses where one's weak to lightning, one's weak to shadow. But if you do not kill both of them in the same turn, they will resurrect each other at full health, and you just keep the fight going and going and going.
None of this is familiar to me.
You might have not done it. I only found it, like I missed it when I first played the DS version. I only found it because of the guide. Huh. Otherwise, I never found it.
Weird. I'm going to have to look this up.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's worth going through it. I mean, then you get to the Dream Devourer.
Oh, actually, Dream Draw is not from that. You actually have to beat the game.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the Dimension of Vortex. The Lost Sanctum is this other one you're speaking of.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
You get really good equipment, but yeah, I missed that the first time through because there's that, and then the other final part is you go in 600 AD, you go all the way up to the top of this tower that they were working on, and you find statues of yourself, and that's
interesting. It's
just stupid, and that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. You get some good equipment, but you do a lot of really dumb fetch quests. I ran up and down this mountain over 20, 30 times, a couple times by accident because I missed something.
Very
that's
tedious.
What you were talking about.
Yeah, I'd never done it before. It was all brand new to me because I missed it last time because I didn't use a guide.
Yeah, I'm looking through it now. I none of this is familiar.
It's hard.
I thought all the gates that opened up were all tied to the dimensional vortexes.
No, so we're going to talk more about the end of the game or the boss, but I want to. So after you beat the game, you beat Lavos, which we'll get back to. I go through the game a second time because you open up 3-dimensional vortexes in 600 AD, future, and 1000 AD. We go through a really annoying reuse dungeon, reuse sprites, color them differently, new enemies, blah 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 bullshit, and it's bullshit. And then you end up fighting shades of yourself, which I never did this before either. You fight like a fake Chrono, a fake Luca, and a fake Mara, which then end up making your characters way stronger, which is cool. Their latent abilities get stronger. And then after you beat all 3 of those, which are not fun, by the way, kind of hard, you end up unlocking the final fight with the Dream Devourer, which is a reference to Chrono Cross.
Well, you forgot the other boss that you fight. You fight Once King Dalton.
And this is what's supposed to be that Dalton's in 1000 AD in this little vortex, and because you beat him there, he makes a comment like, I'm going to fight, get my revenge, and he supposedly goes to Poray, and in 5 years gets Poray military up to invade Guardia to get revenge.
Okay. Yeah, that must be what I was thinking of then.
Yeah, that's what you were, and that's because in Chrono Cross, Poray is a military force that's invading the wherever the fuck you're at. So, all right, and so after when you beat the game the first time, or any time that you don't do the Dream Devourer, because we'll get the Dream Devourer afterwards, you fight Lavos. And the Lavos fight is broken up into a couple different sections. One, as I mentioned before, he imitates all these other bosses, which are just like they have the same amount of health, so you beat them in one hit a lot of times. And then you fight the Lavos fight, and you're like, yeah, I beat it. And then you go inside his shell and fight one form of Lavos, looks like a giant machine. That's annoying. I think so. And then you beat that, which I remember getting so excited as a kid. And then you fight another thing of Lavos. It looks like a humanoid with 2 little bits.
Yeah, it looks like an alien.
And I like the joke is that the bits are really like the one bit is the real Lavos, because the humanoid just keeps getting resurrected again and again and again.
Because you would think looking at it, it's like, hey, that alien thing is clearly Lavos. I got to kill it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though.
It's really not a difficult fight at all.
No. I had a hard time when I was a kid, but this time it went by really quick.
Take out the left bit, then focus on the right one when he drops his defenses. Middle one's pretty inconsequential as long as you heal up when he attacks.
Yeah. And then you finish the game. And then there's different enemies.
Unless you do all 3-dimensional vortexes.
Yes. When you beat the game, you go back through the second time to do the vortexes.
Oh, can you only do it on the second playthrough?
You had to do a New Game Plus. So I went through it a second time and did the dimensional vortexes, and then you fight the Dream Devourer, which the Dream Devourer is like Lavos, but Scala is inside the top of it. Which, is that a reference to Chrono Cross without going into spoilers? Okay. Well, kind of spoiler, but still. No, it's old. And this fight is tough as hell. Like, the only reason I was able to get through this fight, as simple as I did, there's an item for Robo that you can get in the one of the dimensional vortexes where anytime he gets a critical hit, he does 9,999 damage. So that's how I beat the Dream Devourer.
I believe that's the same method I use. I mean, again, it's been probably like 5+ years since I did it, but I believe that's the same method.
I think I just did my typical Luminaire and Cube Toss. It works. That's what I know.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
It's a good fight. And I guess this is the real ending of the game now. With the Dream Devourer, where Magus gets teleported to some random place, and he's like, I don't know where I am.
Yeah, he goes on the hunt for Shala again. Yeah,
because there's a rumor that he's in Chrono Cross, but he's not.
He was supposed to be. I heard they actually coded him in there and all that, but they took him out last minute because they didn't have the time to flesh out the story. But he was supposed to be Guile.
That's what I've heard.
And Guile's pretty similar in some senses to Magus.
But you can fight Sleozzy and Flash, I saw, in Chrono Cross.
You can also do that. So it is pretty cool. Like a lot of the side stuff, well, even some of the stuff that's not side stuff, you run into hints and references to the first game. Like that Mazamune thing I was talking about. You end up facing a guy named Dario, and he's like kind of possessed by something that has to do with the Mazamune.
Okay, I don't remember any of that really. I mean, you're waking up really old memories, but I can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you only played it once and kind of moved on, yeah, it's going to be buried pretty deep.
Yeah, it is. One day I'll get around to it. Well, I will make sure because I'm going to make this podcast do it. So, won't be that far away one day, I guess.
So that's the new ending, right? Which brings the total up to 13 for the game.
Yes. I've never gotten all 13. I told myself I was going to do it. I got the 2 endings. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. We're done. Turn off.
So I told you I was going to make up for killing Chrono to you later in the episode. I actually went through this game 3 times, and the last time I got all 13 endings. I did everything there is to do except for that thing I didn't know about.
Damn.
So there you go.
That's a lot.
Not really.
I know they're
Because,
quick, but
yeah, because you beat it and get the ending, and then you save the overall progress, but you don't save over top of your save file, so you'll just pick right back up where you left off.
well, yeah, but still, it's
It's a lot of fighting Lavos.
yeah. We don't need to talk about all the endings. We just want to talk about I like the whole idea that the regular ending is that all the people they met go through the time portal and they leave. The time portal is are going to be disappearing now that Lavos is defeated, and then your mother's dumbass jumps in the portal chasing after a cat.
See, I didn't get that one.
Yeah. Well, that's the original main ending.
Yeah, and also
There's
makes
variations on that one. Is the
yes, because Glenn Frog can be turned into Glenn if you decided to fight Megas. So
right.
There's different things.
So mine was everyone comes back through the portal during the what's the festival called? Damn.
Millennial Fair.
Yeah, no, they call it something else that caps it off. Anyway, everyone comes back through the portal by the telepads, and they're like, Gaspar's got this thing that can resurrect Chrono, so they're all on this quest to fix Chrono since I didn't do it during the game. But you get to see Hot Glenn too, Frog in his human form because I killed Magus.
Never seen that before.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool to see Glenn back in his human form again.
He looks awesome. Like they definitely needed some way to play as him.
Okay. I mean, I wish he's in the other. I think he's in the Crimson Echoes thing as Glenn.
Oh, neat.
I think I could be wrong though.
I thought he was still Frog, but
Maybe he is still Frog. I don't know. I need to play that again. That's probably gonna be on the show at some point. I do want to put in some ROMs on the show. We'll see. But ROM hacks, I think need to be on the show someday. And they might be extra episodes. I don't know if they'll get numbers. We'll see. That's all other ideas. So, any last thing to say about the game?
Did you want to touch on some of the other big endings?
Yeah.
Like the one Rich mentioned earlier, I think it was off air, where if you beat the game right after you beat Azala, it shows the beginning of the game again, but everyone's a reptite.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the reptites took over.
Like two reptiles bounce into each other like Marley and Chrono.
I never gotten that one.
And then if you beat the game right after you rescue the queen in 600 AD, Frog apparently gets the courage to tell the queen how he feels. So you go back to 1000 AD, and everyone's like talking to Princess Nadia. He's like, why are you in your human costume? And everyone makes a ribbit sound. So you go back to the castle, and the king starts bouncing around. He's like, hey, I was just going to watch this footage of our ancestors getting married. It shows Frog and the queen getting married. So everyone's half frog people now.
I never gotten that either. I never really gotten any endings. I just never cared enough. I mean, I always tell myself I'm going to do it every time, and I never do it.
Most of them are kind of stupid.
Yeah, most of them are pointless. Just go on YouTube, check them out.
Yeah.
End the story.
Most of them are just little vignettes. They're not great. There's one where Meryl and Luca they kind of rate all the human male characters throughout the game. And it's the only time Chrono speaks. He's like, what are you two doing?
It's just never been. I mean, going through the game twice for this episode was enough for me just to get that Dream Devourer fight, because even though you're all powered up still, it's a lot of bosses and a lot of running around. It was worth it, but still, it's a lot.
If you're a true Chrono fan, it's worth going through at least once just to kind of see, to say you did it and to see where it leads.
The Dream Devourer thing, 100%. Everyone, if you enjoyed this game, you need to do that part, and you need to go through the Dimensional Vortex dungeon on the DS. You really should.
That spread of Lavos Lashal on top is really cool to see.
I mean, and if you ask me, that's the real final boss of this game. Because that's essentially what leads into later games and later game. What the hell am I saying?
That is not a plural at all.
Yeah, remember the Chrono Break we were supposed to get? Yeah, how'd that go? I'm still upset.
How about when Square shattered our dreams when it came to the Chrono remake?
That was never going to happen.
Of course not, but it looked beautiful.
I don't know why they should have just been quiet. I wouldn't even say a word. Like, we're not doing anything over here. Oh, look, it's finished. Okay. Like, you make projects like this, you can't be vocal about it.
Yeah, they were very proud of what they were doing and showed it off every chance they got.
Yeah, but they were going to sell it too. Like, they were never going to make it. That wasn't going to be a free game. So they weren't. I don't know what the heck they were thinking. Like, this ain't gonna. You can't sell something like that. I mean, unless they were hoping that they were going to sell it to Squaresoft, and then they wouldn't. But yeah, they have the people who made Chrono Trigger aren't part of the team anymore, so they don't care. Because the guy that created Final Fantasy was one of the people that made Chrono Trigger. He's been gone for years. Nobuo Uematsu, I don't think is still there anymore, so he's his own company now, so it's not surprising that we didn't get it.
I think he just does
Still a
special
bummer.
projects when needed.
It sucks, though. I won't say it doesn't suck, because I would have liked to get more.
Uh-huh.
All right, should we go on to questions, memories, or comments?
Sure.
All
I'm sure
right.
you got a lot.
I actually posted in 4 groups, so I'm going to read these quick, because this is already a long episode as it is, so... All right, let's see what I got. Because it's our 100th episode, so I had to ask some questions, you know?
Yeah.
First, from the turn-based RPG group, which I have a lot, too. So, from Marseille Rosa, well, I have a tradition called Chronovember. Each year I replay the game, and I've been doing this since 1997. It's next to Xenogears, my favorite game ever.
Nice.
From Jesse Beninger? After completing FF3 through 6, I was looking for the next great RPG and was well aware of this gem coming out from bringing up my Nintendo Power. I was about 12 to 13 years old when it dropped. Perfect age to really enjoy it. I remember Robo got beat up by his buddies. I was so emotionally invested in this game that I got choked up.
That has my favorite line in the entire game is if you have Luca in your party. She's like, well, you need to eliminate the intruders. And she's like, no, I think the intruders are going to eliminate you.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
From Dan Gatons, probably the best original soundtrack ever.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
up there.
Chrono Cross might be better, though.
Yeah,
It's some
yeah.
really good
Cross
music.
has a beautiful soundtrack. I mean, it's the same composer, so.
And from Jonathan Clyburn, best memory is learning to steal tablets, because you can steal the tablets that upgrade your abilities from Black Omen bosses, Black Omen
Yep.
enemies. I did not do that, but...
The weird wall panel things.
Oh, yeah, okay, those don't last long either, so, okay. You get only a limited amount then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the other thing he said, it's the only game where you can fight the final boss in the beginning and stop the whole adventure from happening. Yeah.
Under game flaws.
And from Bernard Cross, this thing we've been mentioning off and on, Chrono Trigger Flames of Eternity is the nearest I would call Chrono Trigger 2. The fan hack game is really great. Don't skip the game because of the bad and unbalanced first level. I will be playing it one day.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
Crimson
Crimson Echo.
Crimson Echo is what it's originally called, but then they got stopped at 98% through. Somebody else took over and finished it, and they calls it Flames of Eternity. From Daniel Smith, my man Frog slices a freaking mountain open. From Devin Jackson, not gonna lie, I have started about a dozen times on DS, but never finished. You need to play it on your damn phone. You'll finish it that way. Trust me, it's much easier. Okay, this is funny. From Don Davis, I once faked sick to beat the game before my brother. I succeeded in marvelous fashion. From Troy Dulan, the Black Wind Howls.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a wrong opinion from Robert Gardner. I beat it on the god-awful PS Port. It was that good. PS Port's fine. Maybe it's a little slower, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's just got loading.
And from the official Laser Time group, only got a couple memories, but I'll read the couple I got. From Charlie Weatherton, Chrono Trigger was my introduction to JRPGs and remains one of my favorite games of all time. I rented it from Blockbuster so many times, my mom finally just bought it for me. It was only the second SNES game I ever owned after SimCity.
Also good.
SimCity? Yeah, SimCity, Super Nintendo's really good.
Uh-huh.
From Philip Palumbo, it's funny being a huge DBZ fan at the time and not making the quick connections in the art style as a kid from the box art, but being blown away once in game. I'm a huge fan of not having random encounters a la Earthbound and some of the Dragon Quest series. If a game is stretched that way, I'm out. Chrono Trigger is simultaneously chill and uplifting you with power and inspiration. Very rare.
Earthbound technically doesn't have random encounters either. You still see them on the map.
Yeah, but Earthbound's
They spawn them randomly.
it's not as good as people say it is, I don't think.
Rude.
We can play it. You put it on the show, I'll play it gladly.
We will play it, I'm sure.
You just got to play it. It won't be me putting it on, that's all. From the Overblood group, from Trent Foreman, it's great, that is all. From Sebastian Games, really want a Switch port. That would be nice, but come on now. Okay, here's one from Aaron Cooten. Much prefer Cross to Trigger, even having grown up with Trigger first. Definitely not popular opinion, but mine all the same. Trigger is more fun, but Cross had better music/story, in my opinion.
Yeah,
That's a rough one.
Music is good.
I'm not going to contest the guy, but I mean, that is an opinion you don't hear too often for sure.
No, I mean, I feel like Chrono Cross music is better just because there's a couple songs that really, really grab me.
Mm.
So that
I can't really argue that. I mean, I would say the better OST is probably Cross in this situation.
But I don't remember enough about Cross to talk about the story. I don't even remember the story of Cross, to tell you honestly. I just remember Surge, and that's it.
Nothing to do with time travel and all to do with dimensional traveling.
I
And
don't know.
from Charles Bells, is it bad? My first experience with Trigger was the PS1 version. It's not bad at all. The game's fucking amazing. Play a different version. There's ways to now. So. And from the Chrono Trigger posting group, I'll read my last set of memories and comments. I got a fuck ton, so thank you guys. I can't read them all because this show would be too long. So, We'll read the first one from Alex Khan. This is without a doubt the most important game in my childhood. The story, characters, music, atmosphere, everything is perfect. I'm not even a fan of RPGs, but I have vivid memories of having so much fun traveling time and solving the side quests, immersing myself in the music and the game. It is, in my opinion, the best game ever made. You're not wrong, man. You are not wrong. From Joel Harden, I was 9 when it came out, and I can't believe my parents bought it for me as we got it brand new for $69.99.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing that is so cool. Like, yeah, this game was like people were complaining about $70 for PS5 games. Like, yeah, they were 70 just here and there.
I think game. Earthbound was 80 because it came with the guide.
I kicked myself for never buying that game. Except, I don't even know if I even have any of my Super Nintendo games. I think they're at my parents' house. I hope. Otherwise, they're gone. Well, we'll see someday. From Jeff Harley, it was the first RPG I ever played as a kid. And while I found other games I loved, nothing has ever scratched at it the way Chrono Trigger did. To me, it's the gold standard for the genre. And you'll never get another one. So, yeah. From Josh Reed, the music makes it for me. I love every song on the soundtrack. The song Corridors of Time, the Zeal Kingdom, just makes my imagination go wild. Yeah.
Agreed.
From James Mickelkin, I love that Chrono was a silent protagonist, but I never noticed when I was a kid. In my opinion, he still had a strong hero personality that wanted to do good for his friends, which was inspiring. He was tied with Magus as my favorite back then. Now it's no doubt him. Magus is great. You'll like this one. Mike, from Zachary Moran, Ayla Charm for extra gear. Go check out the charm list, which I never did till this playthrough.
Yeah, because you can get infinite gold studs, too.
Guess what I did. It makes the game a lot more fun. A lot easier, too. All right, let's see what else we got here that I want to read. Some of these are longer, so here's one. From Wilson McLeish, I had a Japanese stepfather who brought a Super Famicom and a Japanese copy of Chrono Trigger home from Japan before it was ever available in North America. My stepbrother and I beat the game together while his dad translated for us. We spent a few weekends in a row doing this until we were able to beat it. Then it came out in English, and I got it for my Super Nintendo. I got to show all my friends how cool it was, and I already knew how to beat it. That's cool.
Wow.
It's a good memory, sir. And here's one. From Tony Holmes. The only thing I don't like is the cover. It shows Marl using fire tech, but she uses frost. It's Luca who uses fire. Yeah. And from Bobby English, I got the game day one back in 1995. My friend and I had played through the game together up until a certain point. So one late night, I'm at the part where Megas challenged you after Zeal falls. I was too scared to fight, so I declined. And bam, he joins. I was so ecstatic. I called my friend's house at around midnight only for his mom to answer and threaten to whoop my ass for calling late. From me to Han Durgan, I quit the game because I could not find the heroes badge, and years later I beat the game. I mean, I can see that being confusing. All right, and I think last one I'm going to read from Andrea Schick. I loved this game when it first came out for the NES, and my brother would sit and watch me play the game, and every ending, the characters, art, music, story made it a perfect game to us. It is a perfect game. Oh, actually, I lied. I'm going to read one more because this one looks interesting. From Michael Gudes. I played it when I was 14 years old. Here in Brazil, the prices are expensive, so like many fellow Brazilians had to go to rental stores to play games. So I rented Chrono Trigger without knowing what it was all about, and once I started playing, my mind was blown away. When I first stepped in the telepod after Marl and watched the time travel animation, I knew I'd love the rest of the game. So we got a lot more, but that's all I want to read. But that's cool. So there you go. I mean, people love this game. Most people, unless you play the PS1 version, then you don't like it, apparently.
I just got to sit there in the loading.
I beat the PS1 version because back then it was cool because it would let you, it would show you what endings you got and save that information for you.
And DS version does it now too.
Yeah, I mean the DS version is the correct way to play it now.
That's the definitive version now. But the cool thing about PS1 back in those days, when it finally came out, it had the cutscenes for the first time.
Right.
And at the time, that was pretty cool. Now we don't give a damn.
I skipped them. Then. I turned them off. I had no interest in them after that. I'm like, I'm good.
Oh, hey, I was looking up the box art mistake. Someone points out that it's them doing the arc impulse where Chrono leaps off a frog's back. That's why he's kneeling. And the effect that Meryl does to Chrono's sword makes it look like fire.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So I never knew that.
Well, me neither. Well, I mean, I've used the attack, but it never pieced it together. Nice.
You learned something new.
There you go. So the person that's been screaming at us this entire episode, I'm glad I could close that loop for you.
I think I've learned new things about my favorite game. Okay, let's go to Shelf for Box now. And Rich, since you're our guest, why don't you go first?
All right. Well, I think we all know where we all stand on this, but the comments that you just read, like majority of those sum up all my feelings for this game. The nostalgia is strong with this one. And just the music, I don't think we covered enough just how beautiful, how great that music is. Like, I still listen to that to this day. When I'm having a hard time or I just want to relax, I'll throw on some Trigger or Cross music, and no matter if I'm at work or at home, and it just calms me down. That's how much power that has to this day for me. I used to sit on the main world screen like in 600 AD and just sit there and let the TV play the music because it was so great. But this is one of those games where it's not only a great SNES game, but just one of the greatest games that I've ever played in my life. And I have not found anything to really come close to that other than Ocarina of Time. But definitely would shelf this game. I'd go as far as to even create a damn shrine for it and pray to it every day. I mean, this game is amazing. So.
Hey, I have I'm close to that. I have perler beads of all the characters, and I have a canvas signed by you and other people.
Hey, there you go, man. It's a good start.
Still hanging, it's hanging above my TV.
I would go further than shelf this game. I would shrine it.
Hey, there's our new thing. You shelf, box, or shrine, but only.
It's the opposite of us put it in the box and throw it in a lake or whatever we said for some of the bad MCU movies.
There aren't any bad MCU movies. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you tend to forget about it.
there's only that's not a bad movie. That's just a forgettable movie. The bad movie we just got done reviewing. The bad movie has sensitive nipples. That's what the bad movie is.
Yeah. People will hear that in a few months.
Once I finish editing it, damn it. All right, Adam, Mike, why don't you go next?
I don't think anyone's going to box this game.
No.
We kind of covered it pretty well about what's so great about it, but the fact that it popularized New Game Plus and the double text, like I said before, I'm such a sucker for combining the text like that. But I don't think there's anything else we need to say. It's forever on the shelf. And it sucks that we'll never get another one.
Nope. But we'll play other games that are like it eventually on the show. We'll get as close as we can get.
Right.
That I promise, Yeah, and I'll go next. I mean, it's simple. I'm going to put this on the shelf no matter what. I would go same thing as Rich said. It would get a shrine because this is a game where it's my all-time favorite game. I love it. It didn't age at all for me. I still had a blast. It was so much fun to run through, and it's just so good. It never gets old. It just doesn't. It's aged perfectly. It's not a perfect game. I know that. There's no such thing as a perfect game, but it's sure as hell. Well, maybe Tetris, but it's sure as hell close enough for it to. I don't like Tetris as much as that, but I know people do.
Bill does. We know Bill does.
That's what I was also thinking of. So yeah, the game's on the shelf, and if you want to play this, you can. There are so many different ways to play it. It's on Nintendo DS. It's on Apple Store. It's on Steam. It's on Android. There's so many different ways to play this, and you should. If you haven't played it, play it. Play it on your damn phone like I am, right? That's the best way because it's just in my pocket at all times, and that's how I was able to play through it and with fast forward so quickly, and it's really, and I still had so much fun. Story is amazing. So on the shelf, love this game. Will never not love this game. So yeah, there we go.
You introduced it as your favorite game of all time at the top of the episode. I'm sure people are biting their nails to see if you shelf or boxed it.
Yeah, I know.
What a twist that would have been.
Box. Fuck this game. No, I mean, there's nothing. The Dalton thing is annoying with the Blackbird, but again, there's really this. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, anything negative about this game is extremely minor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's never. And then when playing through this most recent playthrough, it just became. I just enjoyed it just that much more. I really did actually.
Enjoying it to the point where I'm like, I might as well go get every ending.
I'm impressed.
So I can say I did.
I can't believe you did that.
It's fun. I was really ready for it to be over by like the 9th ending. Well, I'm so sick of fighting Lavos.
I wouldn't do it that many times. I mean, I might get one more ending, maybe, but then I don't know. That's a lot of work.
But I did not beat him in the Ocean Palace. Like, he's still super hard.
Yeah, I can believe that. That's a ridiculous fight because you're not meant to win it, so they kind of make sure you don't win it.
People online say it's doable, so I mean they wouldn't lie.
Yeah, people. You can also get Pika Blues in Pokemon Red and Green, Red and Blue too. Yeah,
Pika Flare too. Yeah,
he's got to move the truck.
We'll be talking about that soon. And Mike, why don't you introduce what we're talking about next week?
So I'm like, would it be weird to put my favorite game of all time after yours? Mike's like, no. So next week Next week we are playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
So 2 great games, one after another. We had to wash that taste of Mega Man X2 out of our mouths,
True. So true.
X is amazing. X2 is just no. I don't know. It's just too hard.
Yeah.
That's the
X3 is not going to be any better.
Yeah, but it's not on the list yet.
Fair.
It will be, I think, and I want it to be, but it's not there yet.
That's all on you, buddy.
I tried to change Ape Escape, but you said no.
Nope. Spoilers for next season.
Yeah, okay. And anything else I need to say? No, I think we covered everything.
Good. No, you got your plugs.
Oh, yeah, besides that. I mean, we covered everything important besides the plugs. So, again, I want to thank Rich for coming on and joining us again for this episode. And our 100th episode. I would not have thought that when I first started the show, I would be here 100 episodes and have this so I'm pretty proud of that. Unfortunately, none of the people who started the show are with me still. They all end up leaving at this point. But, hey, I made it 100, so I'm happy with myself. And it's been what?
Be here for it.
22 episodes since you joined, I think, or 22 regular episodes, like 50 since you joined. It feels like we recorded, but
beginning of July, somewhere around there.
Yeah, episode 78. You joined with Super Mario Land 1 and 2. Good episode too. All right, if you enjoyed this episode, we've covered lots of other games. We haven't covered too many RPGs just because they were tough to do, and we're going to definitely cover more because me and Mike want to. Episode 4, we did Golden Sun. That might be the only turn-based RPG we covered besides this. I think there's any other one. Yeah, I want to do Parasite Eve. That don't really count. We covered that. Episode 26, 24, 23, somewhere around there. So yeah, definitely check out all our old episodes. We do comics, we do games, we're going through the NC movies. We just released Winter Soldier not too long ago, and you should be hearing the first Guardians of the Galaxy somewhere around the point that I don't remember my time paradox is around this time. So definitely check those out. And if you enjoyed the show, great way to support us. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, where I'm constantly posting updates. And YouTube, we need more subscribers. And also want to give a shout out to our awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Bobby, a.k.a. Mike Stoney from his EP Bite the Bullet. Song to Cool Kid Squad. Definitely go check him out on YouTube. All right, I think that's everything I need to say. And I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank you for helping us reach 100 regular episodes. And we never missed a single week. We were never late. And I've been waiting to say that. I have not been late once. Well, yeah, because always the goal is have it up by Tuesday morning, normally Monday night, but it was always up by Tuesday morning. Even when I had to stay up till midnight in Chicago to get Mega Man 1 and 2 up, and we had it up by Tuesday morning.
Awesome.
I literally stayed up till midnight, 1 in the morning, trying to get the freaking thing to convert and upload. But I did it. So yeah. All right, we will see you guys all next time when I'm done patting myself on the back. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.